fuck out of bed, bitch. Go. Get up, and then they got go. Time to wake up, bitch. Get up. Get up. Get up.
All right. Let me kill it real quick. Oh, I hate the way this YouTube button works. I hate it so much. YouTube could be just utter shit sometimes. Anyway, I hope you guys are having a good day today. Bitcoin is over $68,000, and it looks like it's just going to go higher from there. So it's very exciting. Let me pull up the chart real quick here. We got a lot of other stuff to talk about. We got Hal Finney talking about Bitcoin back in 2010, Bitcoin being more like a bank, like what MicroStrategy is talking about doing, and being a reserve asset, and then having banks do the majority of the transactions. He said it could succumb to that. We've got oil dropping under $70 a barrel, or getting close, currently at $70.28. We've got some investment stuff I want to talk about, just basics of how I got rich, and then also earnings are good now, not bad. So I guess that's pretty good. And deflation, I think, is coming for a lot of countries, and there's some examples of that today. We got mortgage economic data. It sucked. We've still got exports and imports coming. And then we've got Tesla moving Bitcoin and a whole bunch of dialogue and discussion around that. So it's been a heck of a night into morning already. But most importantly, it's the $68,275 Bitcoin that we can find most impressive today. So miners, MicroStrategy, they'll probably lag Bitcoin initially. That's just how it works. Bitcoin makes its big moves. Altcoins take a break. Miners take a break. Everything takes a break. But then they come along for the ride, and they do it with a vengeance. We can actually see some of that today. If we look over at altcoins, we can kind of see all the fluff and trash floating to the top. Posted about this earlier, but again, Nero up 5,700%. I don't remember the other one that was over here. It was like S&P or something, or SPX. That one's just gone. Turbo's in here, though. We got turtles now. We got cats with Mew. We got Mog. I think that's another cat. We got Popcat. So it looks like the cats, it had been dogs for a long time, and now we have cats. So at least they're equal opportunity in regard to pets. You don't call them shitcoins? No, they're shitcoins. All of them are shitcoins, chicken bro. I'm just trying to cuss less. Anyway. Wow. Isn't that beautiful? So this is good stuff, guys. This is what we've been waiting a very, very long time for. So I would love to see Bitcoin keep climbing as other things are falling. I actually should do this real quick. So we're at 68,250. Let's see how the rest of the miners are performing today. We'll just move some things around. I'm probably going to load this into the bottom right corner because I think we just have to watch Bitcoin all day. I think that's the rule. But let me add extended hours onto this mix, and then we'll just sort it out. So today we got Iron up 6% in pre-market, Cypher up 6%, CleanSpark up 5.34%. Bit Digital up 4.5, Mara up 4, Bitfarms up 3.24, MicroStrategy up 3%. So again, underperforming the miners. We still have Bitfarms is doing better than MicroStrategy, but no, I guess they're about tied. I do think Bitfarms will catch up eventually. Wolf 3%, Hut 3%, Riot 3%. It's pretty much a give out 3% plus to every miner today. Not bad. CleanSpark or Iron if already have CLSK. I mean, if you already have CLSK, then I don't think it would hurt to diversify a little bit to Iron. I think it seems to be a pretty well-run company. And I like diversification. Again, I've got Mara, I've got Bitfarms, I've got Iron, I've got CleanSpark, I've got a lot. And then I've still got MicroStrategy. I think I have 60 or 70,000. I looked today. I've not updated my portfolio. I wanted to do that, but I've just been so busy and like trying to make the channel better, trying to figure out more with AI, trying to keep up with all the news events, what was going on with it. There's just been so much. I'm just not caught up. And Bitcoin started running today. So right when I thought I was going to get caught up, I'm like, I guess I'm staring at this. But we will get there. We will get there. I promise you. If there's anything I am, it's not timely, but it's eventually get there. If there's anything I have in common with Elon Musk, it's hard work and eventually getting there. Hi all. Hey Jesse, BTC's rocking. Yes, it is, my friend. LW says on X, a beautiful BTC morning to all. Go Tesla. Yeah. I hope Tesla does all right. Well, I mean, honestly, I hope it doesn't do all right. Who am I lying to here? I hope Tesla sucks between like now and next week, and I hope Bitcoin goes to the moon so I can arbitrage that play. So if I'm being honest, that's what I actually hope. Let's see here. Biddy. So shorting Bitcoin not paying off today. Microsoft down. Palantir down a little bit. Uranium down a little bit. Oh, BABA up 0.06%. Exciting. You should all invest in China. Joking. But yeah, going in the other direction. I mean, even Tesla's up 0.5% today. I think it's just all that global liquidity sloshing around, guys. Trey Gotti says, let's go, Jesse. Michael out. Good morning, all. Alfredo Hernandez, first time on time. I'm super early today. I was going to start at 7, but I mean, we're already at 68,300. I got to start now, right? Didn't get a lot of sleep, but I guess I'm awake. Totally. BTC to the moon, Tesla, ho-hum for a few weeks. I hope so, Steve. I really hope so. That's the game plan. It never works out quite the way you want it to, but I really hope so. Sorry, this is my Yoda Best Dad shirt. I've got one for my daughter that says Yoda Best Daughter. She got this for me for Father's Day, so I had to get one for her too. 68,400 inbound, maybe? You know what? Let's get back. I got a lot of stuff to cover today. So again, Bitcoin imminent breakout. I'm going to move this. I'm going to just jostle some stuff around a little bit. I can get to my notes in a second. Let me see. I'll actually probably have to make the notes a little bigger. Let me go back here. What did I just do? Oh, hey, that does work the same. Good old Mac. All right, so I'm going to do extended hours. Oof, this just isn't great. That's all right. We can figure it out. I'll just do this. I'll bring this down a little bit, just a hair. And then move this over here. And then move this over here. Just give me a sec, guys. Just give me a second. Got to do some stuff. All right, so that's there. We got there. And then I can move this here. It's getting better. I can move this a little bit over here. And I'll put that there. And then that's where the real magic comes in. As you guys just listen to me rant. All right, one second. Let me just find this thing. Stock. There we go. And put you down in the corner. There we go, guys. We got little Bitcoins up in the house. I'm just going to move it up a little bit. Maybe zoom in, huh? To show how beautiful it is. All right, so each one of those lines is kind of a key marker for us to get past. Looks fairly readable. Kind of close. Let's see here. I'll do this. I'll do this. All right, there we go. I think that's pretty good. Let me see. Can I move this over? Oh, no. If I go back this way. That's pretty good. And what if I go down this way? That's pretty good. We'll take it. Okay. So there's our Bitcoins. We got Bitcoins rolling. I'm going to move over to some other subject matter. Let's look at... what do I want to cross off first? Let's look at more Bitcoins. Let me go back here. I just feel like jamming out to that song again this morning. Every time Bitcoin really rocks, I don't remember who did it, but there was a crypto person who would just play that song like at blast every time Bitcoin was going up, and I loved it so much. I don't know if I love most of the stuff that guy does, but I do love that song. If you guys could too, if you could hit the likes on this YouTube or X post, that would be amazing. Some of you already do it awesomely all the time. Please comment if you like Bitcoin. There you go. That's some That's definitely some stuff. All right, let's keep going. Let's get to that bookmarks, actually. Let's get to the right place. All right, we'll start off a little bit with Bitcoin. Then we got some economic stuff to roll into. So I said not a very smart decision coming out of Italy. They're going to raise capital gains tax on Bitcoin to 42% from 26%. I mean, maybe it'll encourage buying and hodling, but it won't encourage people to live there, which seems to be a problem Italy has, right? Population collapse and all, bunch of empty small towns that nobody's ever going to again. So you'd think they'd want to encourage people to come there. You'd think they'd remove the tax completely. Also, Thomas the Tank had a really interesting point over here. He said, for every 1% that Donald Trump goes up in the Polymarket polling, we're seeing Bitcoin go up 1,000. I don't know if that's true, but I like to think it is. Also, this is for MicroStrategy updates. I'm actually going to... Oh, I do follow them. Okay, cool. So I thought this was pretty awesome. So, quote, Bitcoin banks will never work. Sailor shouldn't let MicroStrategy do this. That's what somebody had said, right? But here's Hal Finney envisioning Bitcoin banks all the way back in 2010. If you're new here, I think Hal Finney actually is Satoshi Nakamoto, and he passed away of a severe illness that made it to where he couldn't even communicate with human beings. And he got severely ill right around the time that Satoshi stepped away from the project and said, it's in good hands, I'm going to leave. So, you know what, I'm gonna fix this image down at the bottom right. It just looks a little hokey. Let me see if I can clean it up and get it to where you can actually read this stuff. Oh, edit no. Let's see, is that better? It's just like a little blurry. I hate that shit. All right, whatever. It'll just have to be that way for now. But yeah, so Satoshi, Hal Finney, had some theories on Bitcoin, and I want to go over them real quick. So here's what he said. Let's just zoom in. I can't have Snoop read this, unfortunately, but so again, this is from, does it have a date on here? Yeah, December 30th, 2010 at 1:38 in the morning. He said, actually, there's a good reason for Bitcoin-backed banks to exist, issuing their own digital cash currency redeemable for Bitcoins. Bitcoin itself cannot scale to every single financial transaction in the world, be broadcast to everyone. So somebody said, be broadcast to everyone and included in the blockchain. So somebody said, oh, hey, that's not true. How Satoshi never felt that way. Oh, we got balloons. Yay. Satoshi never felt that way. Well, Satoshi in the beginning did feel like he could get Bitcoin to scale and that there would be no problems. Near the end, though, it looks like, especially Hal was in agreement with all of that. And near the end, he thought maybe it won't scale. Now, I still think it can with the Lightning Network, and I think that's a lot of what MicroStrategy is trying to do. But he said, this is kind of the worst case, right? He said, actually, there's a really good reason for Bitcoin-backed banks to exist, issuing their own digital kind of cash currency redeemable for Bitcoins. Bitcoin itself cannot scale to every single financial transaction in the world or be broadcast to everyone and included in the blockchain. Just if you look at the 8 decimals that it goes over, you still can't get to scale. He goes, there needs to be a secondary level of payment systems, which is lighter weight and more efficient. Likewise, the time needed for Bitcoin transactions to finalize will be impractical for medium to large value purchases. Again, Lightning makes this easier. But it doesn't totally resolve the scaling issues just by the number of Satoshis you can get in the world. It still doesn't resolve it. He said Bitcoin-backed banks will solve these problems. They can work like banks did before nationalization of currency. Different banks can have different policies, some more aggressive, some more conservative. Some would be fractional reserve, while others may be 100% Bitcoin-backed. Interest rates may vary. Cash from some banks may trade at a discount to that from others. He goes, George Selgin has worked out the theory of competitive free banking in detail, and he argues that such a system would be stable, inflation-resistant, and self-regulating. I believe this will be the ultimate fate of Bitcoin, to be a high-powered money that serves as a reserve currency for banks that issue their own digital cash. Most Bitcoin transactions will occur between banks to settle net transfers. Bitcoin transactions by private individuals will be as rare as well as Bitcoin-based purchases are today. So I don't know about the rarity of individual to individual. I think there will still be purpose of that. Whoa, we got a bunch of memberships. What's going on over here? What happened? Who is it this time? Let me see here. Manny247, thank you, brother. Thank you very much. I saw a bunch of comments coming up, and I didn't know what was happening, but thank you very much, dude. I appreciate you guys are always so awesome. I love this community. I really do. But yeah, so this is what I believe Satoshi's vision was. It's just really the important thing is getting the government out of printing our currency away and inflating it away to zero. That is the whole point of Bitcoin. That's the existence behind it, is to basically make it to where the government can't dilute your money. That's why they created this after the 2008 great financial crisis, for that reason, because they said this is crazy that the government can just dilute everybody's wealth to bail out a bunch of assholes and then nobody goes to prison. And so they wanted to fix that. And that's pretty important. And so I just wanted you guys to see it. All right, Anthony Pompliano. I love this guy. He got a lot of shit. I think he was tied with like a bunch of companies that went under, right? I don't remember if it was Voyager. There were a bunch of people affiliated. They were doing promotion and all these things, all these wannabe banks, wannabe exchanges that didn't actually disclose holdings and did all this shady shit in the background. Very early stage stuff. They all went under. And so he took a lot of heat for that. But I want to listen to what he has to say here. It's really important. It's 1 minute.
In 2016, the median home in America cost 664 Bitcoin. Today, it costs 6 Bitcoin. So what ends up happening is, in dollar terms, we actually saw about a 50% increase. It was like $250,000, $300,000. Now it's over $400,000. 50% increase in dollar terms for the median home between 2016 and 2024. So 8 years, 50% increase in that home. How many people's wages went up 50% or more? Probably not as many. In Bitcoin terms, there was a 90.
So just to be clear, nobody's wages went up that high. I mean, very, 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 very few people. Definitely single percentages. So if you didn't own assets, if you didn't own houses, Bitcoin, all the stuff we talk about, you're fucked. That's loud. It doesn't look loud from here, which is weird. It did sound loud to me.
89% reduction in the price of the median home in America priced in Bitcoin. Bitcoin literally made housing more affordable. And so when you think of it in those terms, what it does is it requires you to break the mold of thinking in dollars and now think in terms of Bitcoin. And so if you hold dollars, everything...
That sucks, because I really thought I had figured out what was happening with the volume. So it bums me out a little bit that you're hearing that.
Around you gets more expensive over time. Your coffee gets more expensive. Your house gets more expensive. The clothes that you buy, everything gets more expensive. When you hold Bitcoin over the long run, everything gets less expensive over time. Your purchasing power increases.
Is the echo gone now?
Increases at a faster rate than the rate of inflation, and therefore literally every single good around you gets less and less expensive. In 2016, the median home in America cost 664 Bitcoin. Today, it costs 6 Bitcoin. So what ends up happening is, in dollar terms, we actually saw about a 50% increase. It was like $250,000, $300,000. Now it's over $400,000. 50% increase in dollar terms for the median home between 2016 and 2024. So 8 years, 50% increase in that.
All right, sorry, I ended up looping on that. Okay, so the echo's gone. The volume might have been a little off too. I think I could get there. I could figure. Sound, I'm amazed. When you do YouTube, guys, you don't realize how effed up and how many different things you have to think about. Evidently, my compressor and limiter settings still aren't perfect. It's just like, it's endless, the amount of stuff you need to realize and understand, on top of investing and all this other stuff, right? But again, what Anthony said is very true. So just look at this. It cost 664 Bitcoin to buy a home in 2016. Now it costs 6. 6. So Bitcoin is like, it's this way of just really preserving your wealth that you just can't do with something else. Okay? You just can't do with something else. I'm actually going to try, I'm going to crank my mic just a hair. I'm going to set it up to 2 dB. To where my mic is a little bit louder, and then maybe I'm louder than the other stuff that comes up. And I think I fixed the echo thing. I can't believe I allowed that to happen, so sorry about the echo. That should be fixed. All right, Marty Party. Next short wall, 70,000. Look at that big old 70,000. Look at it. Up here. Just blew past this. There's probably a bunch of people trying to short, thinking it's not going to get past 70K. I wouldn't be placing that bet today at all. Oh, and I should do this real quick. I need to change this color down in the corner real fast to green, because we're looking at support now, not resistance. So let's just do this. And then we'll shorten the time frame a little bit, because it's better to look at it that way. So let's even do the 1 hour. Now we can see that instead of seeing that ugly wick. Oh, no, it's still that way. All right, we'll just leave it for now. Whatever. All right. Sorry, I'm trying to fix my restream here too. But yeah, so we've got another short wall sitting in front of us. Also, my buddy Adam Back. I love this guy. His company Blockstream. He's a original crypto punk, crypto cypherpunk. They just raised $210 million to buy more Bitcoin for its treasury and fund its other initiatives. I love that. I love that one of these OGs is, again, just very successful. He's the dude on the left, and I'm just really proud of him. Yeah, and I said this was coming. I actually thought maybe we could trend through here for a little bit, but it just doesn't seem to be that way. And we just passed the 4 hour now, right, guys? If you look down in the corner, you'll see that 4 hour chart did end up closing right above peak resistance. So this is a really good sign for Bitcoin. Looks like MSTX, so it looks like MicroStrategy's trying to make a comeback today. We'll see if we get selling pressure into that. Maybe Michael Saylor will wait until we hit that next key resistance zone. All right, so that's a lot for the Bitcoin stuff. Let me see what else I have in my notes here real quick. Just 1 second. Over here, I'm just going to do this, push this over here. All right, so let's see. Yeah, we got oil heading towards $70 a barrel. Let's just look at that. So again, $70.21, really looking like it wants to roll over. I feel like this is a monthly time frame, but I feel like we could just keep going down. This is quite the dunk, this wick right here. And again, I've had this line for a while saying that I think we can get into the 50s, unless now if I think Israel's going to be sneaky. They're going to wait for people to kind of forget about what's happening in that region, and I think then at that point we see them pop off. So, but if they end up attacking nuclear facilities earlier than I anticipate, then I could see us going up again and testing higher. Well, I mean, it depends. It depends. If they do nuclear but they don't go after oil, then maybe it's okay. I don't know. I got to think about it. There's a lot of stuff that can happen right now. Mr. Monkey said, you'd think shorts had a wake-up call yesterday. With what, Bitcoin or just everything? There's not a lot of people probably shorting markets right now. Let's look at the put-call ratio real quick. Put-call ratio does not look great. Again, it's pretty low, so there's not a lot of puts versus calls. I think that pattern could stick around for a while. We are getting overextended, though. There's important things to realize. I think we took a step back yesterday with stocks, which is kind of funny because my account wasn't that bad yesterday because of what happened with CleanSpark and others, just because of Bitcoin. But we dropped down to 69 where we were like 76, 77 at one point. So we're not as greedy as we were. And then in the crypto market, we've been creeping up. We're at 73 now, but the crypto market can really go high for long periods of time. If you just look over here, you can see that, right? 100, like right near the 100 levels, 95, 94, riding up against this from really, what was it, like November 2020 all the way till May of 2021 with one big drop for a minute. You can see how crypto can just scream. So you need to keep that in mind. Let me see here. Mop74 says, thanks to you, I got CleanSpark shares 3 weeks ago. Thank you. You're the best. You're welcome, sir. Alex Garcia, what's BTC all-time high around 73K? Good question. We'll pull it up again on the big chart just to take a look at that. And I think it's close to that. It is 73,840, 73,8, something like that. So once we get past 73.8, then it's off to the moon. But again, we could take breaks. We could shoot up to like that 73 mark, drop back down, back test, go to 72, go to 70, back down to 67, find support, and be a very healthy move. And on the daily, we're almost overbought. So we're at one of the highest levels we've been on the RSI going back to like July. And really before that, I mean, March of 2024. So this is the most overbought we've been for a while. I just want to encourage you, when Bitcoin really takes off, overbought can go a little further than one might expect. We could get into the 90s on overbought on the daily time frame. And if you look at the weekly here, we're not that high. We're only at 59. So we've still got, another 11 points before we get overbought. And again, this divergence that started back in like June or July on the MACD is looking to pull higher on the weekly time frame. So we could still go up. We got some room. Albert says, Alex Garcia, yep, around 73.7. Dylan says, I hope it liquidates the shorts and God Candle to 72. I wouldn't hate that. Akash 2000, Hims. Is Hims doing all right? Is Hims doing okay? I'll just take a quick look here, and then we'll get back to our bigger stuff. Let me actually just hop over here. Actually, you know what? I can do it right here. What the heck? And let me just resort here by... All right, so MSTX is in the lead. CleanSpark is next. Iron is next. Cypher, they're kind of all the horses are running today. Mara's up 4%. Even Bitfarm's up 3.24 and catching up. So we're starting to see some moves. But don't forget, MSTX has a daily rebalancing, so it can eat you up. Excuse me. Let me get over to Hims. What is Hims up today? 11%, oh, yesterday, and then down 0.44%. So it looks like it's ready for a breakout zone. I thought it might go over here, and that would be danger to the downside, but it invalidated that. So Hims is looking good. Hims looks like it wants to continue with the broader market. So you can't hate that. Anybody invested in Hims from the way back here, 740%. That was not a bad number. And it looks like in the end, off this big drop that we had, we bounced perfectly off this fib level. And we were down 48%, roughly. So let's see, maybe a little bit less. So yeah, you can see how that would play out. All right, I do need to get over to economic data. So again, oil dropping, getting closer to that 70 mark, dropping into the 60s. I want to look at economic data. I've got some investment basic stuff. We got a lot of stuff to look at. So exports and imports for India, I want to start off with there, and balance of trade. Let's look at this. I want to understand how India is doing. An emerging market is important, right? So the merchandise trade deficit in India. Oh, can I use this? Oh my God, my voice is going to love this so much. My esophagus is going to be so happy.
The merchandise trade deficit in India was at $20.08 billion in September of 2024, the lowest since April, firmly below market expectations that it would stand at $24.06 billion. Imports grew by 1.6% from the corresponding period of the previous year to $55.04 billion, also the least since April, as key energy commodities that are a large part of Indian foreign purchases had lower prices in wholesale markets. In the meantime, outbound shipments expanded by 0.5% from the previous year to $34.06 billion.
All right, cool. Interesting view of their trade deficit. Look at that. It's just crazy. Falling off a cliff. Excuse me. Oh, got to clear my throat. Exports. I need like a Halls or something. It's that time of the year. My throat is so dry too. The weather just sucks here in the Midwest. It's getting colder. All right, so if we look here, India exports, outbound shipments. Oh, you know what? Snoop Dogg. 1 second.
Outbound shipments out of India expanded by 0.5% from the previous year to $34.06 billion in September of 2024. Exports in India averaged $7.68 billion from 1957 until 2024, reaching an all-time high of $44.57 billion in March of 2022 and a record low of $0.06 billion in June of 1958. Source: Ministry of
Okay, that's enough. One thing to note here is we're kind of after the pandemic. You could see where their exports just plummeted. Everybody was going to China. Now, there is still a drag. You can definitely see how China's dumping has pulled this down. But if you look here, there's still kind of a strong linear, strong line pulling us up over here that's pretty consistent. And so their exports still look good. I would like to see more exports coming out of India. And I would like to see less coming out of China, but China is going through so much deflation. We're going to talk about that in a little bit here, that I don't know if that's going to happen. It's going to be very interesting. Now let's look at their imports for India. And the import situation is a little bit different. So if we look over here, we've got actual of 55.36 billion, forecast of 53, so slightly better than expectation. And this is a pretty big number still. Again, it's kind of recessed like the exports. So you can see maybe some slowdown in activity, but it's a pretty strong uptick, more so than exports. So right now, they seem to be consuming a little bit more than they're pushing out. A lot more, actually. I mean, look at this. Imports 55 billion, exports 34. Once they really hit a growth phase, though, I think some of that will change. They'll be a much bigger manufacturer, in my opinion. All right, let's keep going. So mortgage data sucked really bad for the United States. So the 30-year mortgage ticked up higher. It was previously 6.36. Again, I think some of this is going to change. It's going to hit a peak here soon and then start rolling over. But right now, in regard to the mortgages, it's actual was 6.52. So we're going to see a temporary, and I didn't really call this. I was missing this, but let's just read this real quick. I'm going to try not to get the source information in it.
The average contract interest rate for 30-year fixed-rate mortgages with conforming loan balance is $766,550 or less, soared to 6.52% in the week ended October 11, 2024, the highest in about 2 months, compared to 6.36% in the previous week. Mortgage costs rose for a third straight period after a hotter-than-expected inflation print reinforced bets the Fed will lower borrowing costs at a softer pace. Meanwhile, the rate for jumbo loans, or the 30-year mortgage for homes sold for over $766,550, is 6.
All right, I'm going to stop right there. There's this part in here that I wanted to just reiterate. It says mortgage costs rose for a third straight week, after a hotter-than-expected inflation print reinforced bets that the Fed will lower borrowing costs at a slower pace. The voice is annoying. You don't like Snoop Dogg? Who doesn't like Snoop Dogg? Hey, it's better than me losing my voice. I could pick a different one, but I actually like Snoop. Anyway, and my voice needs to work. So here's my point. The whole worry about inflation occurring again is bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. And we're going to look at real quickly as to why that is. So I just want to jump over here, skip some of this. Lots of good stuff in here, but we don't care about that right now. Let's go back here. Yeah, so this right here, guys. Look at this. Look at this. Carl Cantanilla, who said he couldn't be helpful every once in a while. So, not very often, but UK, 1.7% inflation. France, 1.1. Canada, 1.6. So, we're seeing inflation rates that aren't great at all. They're getting too low. And this is across Europe and not too unexpected. But my worry, and I believe what people should be most concerned about, isn't inflation being too high. We'll have a monetary inflation and fiscal inflation that will occur because the money printer has to go burr, and that will lead into assets going up higher. And that could lead to some inflation, but we'll need that because we'll have deflation trying to pull us down, because we're going to be seeing a lot of that coming from China. So I'm not worried about inflation at all. I'm not worried about it. But we have less people in the world. We have to worry about population collapse. That doesn't scream inflation outside of monetary and fiscal spending. And so you're going to see a very interesting world here in the near future, I think. And I do think that those rates will roll over. We'll see if I'm wrong. I've been wrong before, like one time. My wife tells me all the time. All right, let's keep looking, though. So mortgage applications obviously shit the bed, because who wants to get a mortgage when rates are climbing, right? You wanted them to go lower, and seasonality sucks. So we see this number down here, negative 17, close to it. We haven't seen that since April of 2020. So again, it's over 4.5 years now since we saw a number this low. So not great on mortgage applications. Mortgage market index. But again, I've been saying this for a while, at least I've gotten this part right, is I don't really see this picking up until spring, based on seasonality, based on rates coming down. So I still think that's right. If we look over here, so we had these record-breaking numbers, really high numbers, so we took a dip down. And in the mortgage market index, that's not to be unexpected. The refi index, I mean, same pattern, right? Still not horrible. If you look at the last 3 years outside of this range over here for mortgage refinancing, these are the best numbers we've seen since 2022. So it's still the best numbers in 2.5 years, but a retracement, right? And people are wishing they would have refinanced earlier if they're looking to do it now. MBA purchase index 138.40, which again previous was 149.20. So again, same kind of concept. Big drop. Still way down. If you look at this, the MBA purchase index, guys, We're still in levels we haven't seen since the 90s. So there's a lot of room to go up. A lot of room to go up. All right, I'm going to read some comments here real quick. Racer X said, I don't like the Snoop Dogg voice either. Well, if you guys don't like Snoop Dogg, I don't know how you were raised because he's fucking amazing. I'll pick another one. There's always going to be somebody bitching about something. You probably don't like British people either, do you? We'll try British people. 1 second.
Average.
We're going to grab another guy here. We're going to grab Benjamin.
Hi, my name is Benjamin. I speak in British English and Francais and in Espanol de
I don't know if I
España.
like him either. Let's see here. Let's find one people like. Russell. He's British. Or maybe Cliff. Let's see.
A warm welcome to you. My name is Russell.
Can't
I
do it.
speak in British English and
Can't do it.
Francais.
Maybe Cliff.
Hi, my name is Cliff Weitzman. I'm the founder of Speechify. I made Speechify to help me with my dyslexia and ADHD. Now, our AI
Kinda
helps
actually like
millions
this
of
one.
people.
All right. I like that one. He's not bad. Please stick with Snoop. There's like a war. You guys are great. I'll go back and forth between him and Snoop. Is there David Attenborough? You know what I want? A Morgan Freeman. Oh my God. They need to get Morgan Freeman. The voice of God. That would be amazing. Seriously. All right. Anyway, what else do we have today? We've got export and import prices coming up. This way also, dude, there'd be some good. Yeah. Those would all be good. Good advice, guys. So we've got M3 money supply for India coming out. Oh no, I'm sorry, that's already out. 11% it said. So India pumping, and we like that. We don't mind global liquidity picking up. We've got housing starts for Canada. We got manufacturing sales for Canada. We got new motor vehicle sales for Canada, all coming out at 7:30. 7:30 in the U.S. We got export and import prices. I hate month over month. I think it's just garbage data. So we'll look at year over year. Not a lot else from the U.S. It looks like Japan will have import, export, tertiary industry index, some other stuff. Monthly budget statement from the U.S. comes out potentially overnight. Sometimes when it doesn't have a time, it doesn't come out. Snoop. You guys are great. Joe Biden mode. Oh my God, that would be horrific. That would be so bad. We can get Kamala Harris. Every one of these will start off with, I grew up in a middle class family. And then it'll go into export prices. That would be wonderful. All right, Canada, tomorrow morning, we got foreign securities purchases. Yep, so that should, and then by Canadians, that'll be interesting. We got retail sales and initial jobless claims in the U.S. Philly Fed manufacturing, retail sales, continuing jobs. Philly Fed, more, retail sales, industrial, capacity utilization, everything. Tomorrow's a big day. NAHB housing market index, business inventories. There's just so much stuff coming out tomorrow for economic data. Thursdays and Fridays are really hot. So we'll have all that. And then, there's so much on Thursday. Look at all this. Like inventories, net long-term tick flows, foreign bond investment, overall net capital flows. That'll all be fascinating data points. Lots of stuff. So Thursday, just tons of data from China, the U.S., Japan, Canada. It's going to be very interesting. Friday, not a ton, but we got some Argentinian data. I love that. Lol, never Kamala. Dude, that would be so horrible. We'd waste so much time with Kamala. Would not be good. Not healthy, guys. Not healthy. All right, what else did I want to talk about? Oh, yeah, I did have a few other things. So I do want to go over more U.S. economic data. I wanted to go back to something, though, because it was a post that I really liked, and so I wanted to illustrate with it. So this guy, Brian Feroldi, he does a really good, if you're trying to learn more about like basics of investing and good fundamentals, he said, DM me Buffett for a premium. So he idolizes Warren Buffett, but there's good stuff in here. And I like Warren Buffett too. I just think that some of his plays are, it's harder to deal with right now. And I don't love all of his investments. They're not really like good for humanity. If you look at them, like Coca-Cola and like McDonald's and just all this shit that he invests, it's really not great for humanity. And so I have a different style of investing when it comes to that. But I do appreciate and respect him greatly. But I love this. It says, buy damaged stocks, avoid damaged companies. And this is such an important nuance that I think so many people forget. The revenue should still be going up. The stock price can go down. That's okay. But are the financials really good? And there's just some disparity because of a narrative that's hurting them. And but don't go after companies that are seeing declines in revenue along with the stock price. Now, I said this is how I got rich off of Bitcoin, Palantir, Meta, Tesla, Hood, MicroStrategy, Square, Matterport, CleanSpark, Riot, Mara, and more. And it's true. I bought these things when they were undervalued. I bought them when everybody was running away, but the fundamentals were still sound. And this is how you invest. This is how you invest. And this was only exclusive to subscribers on X. I still like showing them in here. Eventually, maybe I stop doing that. James Earl Jones, another good one. Fuck, you guys are so good. We could do Robert F. Kennedy Jr., where he's just like, hello. It's a little worse than me. That's probably my future. I shouldn't make fun of it. All right. So I want to jump over to U.S. economy. Oh, but we got somebody talking about Tesla. Let's see what kind of bullshit narratives are going on with CNBC right now in regard to Tesla. Anybody want to see that? I do. Let's just refresh. I'm going to go back here. Oh, former Ford CEO. He better be saying good shit about Tesla, bro. I'm going to punch him in the face. Let's see here. Let's go back. Jesus. Some people just like to bloviate. It's a good thing I'm not like that.
Worldwide electric vehicle sales hitting a record high.
DHL says Tesla Semi ready to roll. Oh, dude, it's so good. I agree, Chicken Bro. I don't know if I actually I thought I posted it, but I don't know if I talked about it. Maybe I'll pull up the article in a little bit.
In September, with a lot of help from China. Research firms Row Motion says that manufacturers sold 1.7 million EVs globally last month. That is up more than 30% year over year. But concerns remain for the EV sector. On Monday, the Wall Street Journal highlighted depressed resale.
Somebody said, so tomorrow, maybe the shit the bed day. That's Akash 2000. It could be. It could be. But here's the thing. I see Bitcoin still doing good. It has its moments where it can run on its own. And it usually is ahead of the process when it comes to stocks because it's more volatile and it's a very liquid market and it's global. So it can absorb liquidity, which is great. It can also drain liquidity, which sucks if you're long. But we don't have to worry about that. Global liquidity is expanding. So we actually love the position of Bitcoin right now because it can take off and make us a bunch of money that we can put into other things that we want to invest in. So again, don't hate it at all. Think it'll be a really good arb play where it can go up independently ahead of time. And then that'll allow me to buy more Tesla and other things I want to get. If Kamala goes on Joe Rogan, Kamala will not go on Joe Rogan. She won't do it. I think that's just bullshit. They just want to make it look like she's willing to do stuff. She got shit on by Time Magazine, by the owner of Time Magazine because she refused to go on. She got shit on by Bloomberg because she refused to go on. There's a bunch of, she's scared of everything.
Values for those vehicles. Joining us right now is Mark Fields. He's the former CEO of Ford and a CNBC contributor. And Mark, I think the general feeling a lot of people have is, oh, nobody's buying EVs anymore, but that's certainly not the case. What do the numbers show?
Well, the numbers show that EV sales continue their upward trajectory here in the U.S. and around the world. You've seen them reach new heights, for example, here in the U.S.
So he's a former CEO of Ford, so maybe he's more genuine and honest. We'll see.
U.S. in terms of market share and in terms of volume. So the good news for the manufacturers is EV sales are up. The bad news, it's costing them a ton of money. And one of the downsides of this is
not Tesla.
Is when you look at residual values or people that have previously bought EVs, those residual values are literally plunging.
And you know why that is? The used car market is a flippin' disaster. And I mean bad. Like anybody who was around in 2008, any of you old timers, you know what cash for clunkers is. We could see something like that for the auto industry in the United States, no matter who's elected. It's that bad. It's worse than it was in 2008. So the auto sector is going to have bankruptcies galore because of China, because of Tesla, and a lack of innovation across the board. And so so you have a used car sector that sucks and that is just drowning in inventory right now, but still high in price. And none of these guys want to sell their stuff at lower prices. So they really haven't worked hard to lower the prices of these vehicles. They are going lower, but they're doing it slow because they're afraid of just losing tons of money on their existing inventory. But then you have Tesla. What is Tesla doing? Driving down the COG price of every vehicle all the time. I want to show you this real quick. My buddy Alejandro has this great chart that shows COGS over time for Tesla. And it's just devastating to the car industry. It's devastating because let me see, gross margin, average selling. Okay, so COGS per vehicle. And this only goes, oh, I wish it went back further. But you can see COGS were like 44. And then the prices now are down to 36. So it doesn't look like a lot. But you can see where these guys have been able to drop their selling price. And also, the COGS going down has made it to where they're not losing so much in margins. They're still profitable, way more profitable than any other EV maker in the world. Anybody, including BYD, even with heavy Chinese government subsidies. So my whole point here is that Tesla's making this worse for everybody. They're fucking all of them.
And so
and now that they're backing away from EVs in the United States, all these legacy car manufacturers, and in Europe, they're sealing their fate. It's over.
Going to have implications for consumers because, when their vehicle is, their loan is higher than the cost of their vehicle, that's going to keep them out of the marketplace. It's also going to put a little bit of a bad taste in their mouth when it comes to buying their next EV, if they do. Right. And from a manufacturer standpoint, it's costing them more money. And then just as importantly, because a lot of the new EVs are being leased, almost half of them here in the US are being leased, that's sticking the manufacturers or the automakers with the residual value risk. So not only is it challenging to make money on new EVs right now, but these residual value risks are going to be lurking on their balance sheets.
Well, let's run through some of those things. It's more costly for the manufacturers because they've had to offer bigger incentives to convince people to buy them from the get-go.
Yeah, I mean, Becky, for the manufacturers, it's really around building scale, right? When you're building scale in the auto industry, that's how you work down the costs, the piece costs for the vehicles. So they need to build scale. They built a lot of these joint venture battery plants with the battery partners. They have a lot of capacity in place.
They're all fucked.
Have to fill that up, not only gain manufacturing experience, but work down that commercialization curve. So they need the scale, and to do that, they have to spend a lot of money to do that. And so this transition is costing them a lot of money, and that's why these automakers who have very strong ICE businesses that produce a lot of profitability.
Rebecca, sorry, real quick, I just wanted to jump in because it's about this topic. Rebecca said, but they're lowering their cost because they're unable to meet their expectations. I mean, it depends on what you're talking about with expectations. Elon said about 2 years ago that the entire auto industry was heading towards calamity and that they were going to tighten their belt. They were going to work hard. They were going to focus on still scaling and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And we know they just got approval. We know that Tesla just got approval in Germany to be able to double their capacity from 500,000 cars per year to 1 million, and that they're working towards that now. So, and that they're continuing to expand out in every way because they're not just a car company. I hope people understand that. But yes, they're lowering costs. Elon saw this coming before everybody else. While everybody else was like, oh, the other EV makers are catching up and everything's going to be great, blah, blah, blah. Tesla was battening down the hatches and trying to figure out how to lower costs and how to deal with the storm that was coming from the higher interest rate environment way earlier in the process, right? Like right at the beginning. And they managed all of that excellently. And if you look at their charts, that the company weathered that storm amazingly and still in pro growth mode. Now, did the revenue sink for quarters because of what had happened? Yes. But look at this. We're still near record revenues as of Q2 of 2024. And we saw massive energy storage deployment. We see operating leverage, which is their revenue versus operating expenses, still scaling at a beautiful pace. And these guys, now that we're going to start lowering rates, are going to be set to just expand and grow and crush their competition, while their competition is retracing and retracting and running away. So this is only going to get better for Tesla. That's what I want people to understand. And again, even net income, we went from 1.129 in Q1 of 2024 to going back up to 1.478. And so another thing we were going to talk about with Tesla is the fact that they're potentially selling Bitcoin. I think they're probably going to do it. We'll talk about that in a second. Let's finish the rest of this video. But what I want you to understand is, Rebecca, is that Tesla's hitting this at a point of strength because they had foresight way before everybody else. And Elon is a pseudo-economist, a very brilliant one, actually. Even though he's not focused on Bitcoin as much, I do think he understands how it can be more valuable. And he's been looking at money from a different avenue. He doesn't think about it for inflation. He's not worried. He looks at it as the government is just horrific. They print all this money. They're really bad at managing it. And for that reason, it makes it to where assets go up in value. But he doesn't look at the detrimental impact of how that affects the bottom tiers of society. I just don't think he's as focused on that. He looks at things from a first principles efficiency standpoint, which is why he made jokes all the time about Doge being a better currency because it would be more liquid and it's frictionless and it's cheaper to move. And he's right about all those things, but he wasn't really geared up in understanding like the Lightning Network either. But but again, I think they could sell their Bitcoin and they might lock in. Maybe for FASB accounting rules, they don't sell and they just recognize some of their gains by voluntarily updating their FASB accounting rules to what was available at the beginning of the year. At the end of the year, their FASB accounting rules will roll over and they'll basically just have to do it. It will just happen. Oh, and it looks like we got more economic data. We're going to go to that in a second here with Rick Santelli. But one way or the other, I think they're going to be able to boost net income and make things look better for Q3 than it would normally look. And I think that might be one of the reasons they're moving their Bitcoin. There's also a chance that they're literally just changing the custody of it. And that, again, some people said maybe they're going to start in the future taking Bitcoin payments again. Maybe they'll do that. I mean, the reason they shut that stuff down is because it was he was worried about the economical, environmental stuff. All that's really been disproven. And it's been shown that they're really doing a great job of cleaning it up as a source. Ugh, I got to kill that. That's super annoying. Let's just throw my phone over here. All right, there you go. Phone out of the way. But so lots of things happening with Tesla. I think it's a great company. I think people need to realize it's a great company and that it's doing really well. But let's jump over here. We want to listen to Rick. He's given import information. So we're going to switch to live. We're going to jump back a little bit. Okay, and then we're going to let Rick Santelli tell us about import prices while I refresh my screen. All right, so it says export-import, negative 2.1% for export prices. Oh, dude, one sec. Before Rick gets started, I'm just going to pause this real quick. This is great. So export prices year over year are negative 2.1%, where they were supposed to be negative 0.1 for forecast and negative 0.4 for consensus. So they actually, oh no, wait, I'm reading the wrong one. That's month over month. Sorry. Forecast at negative 0.4 for the year over year export price number, and it came in at negative 2.1. This is great. Prices coming down is good. Well, it'd be better for import prices. Export prices actually might mean margins are coming down. Sorry, I didn't get a lot of sleep. So this sucks a little bit because it means the pricing power for people exporting is getting drawn away a little bit. But import prices only came down by negative 0.1%. But those were forecast at 0.5 positive. So I guess it's kind of good. Let's look at import prices first. So we want import prices to roll over. That's good for inflation in the United States from consumers, right? Anybody buying overseas, we want to see that. And that feeds to what I believe the narrative is going to be, which is that China is going to export deflation to the world. Now, here's an interesting thing. Export prices year over year are down. Now, this could be pressure. This could be pressure that China is applying. We need to read it and see what all it says. Let me just go over here real quick. Let's get not Snoop. Let's get the creator of Speechify.
Export prices, YOI, in the United States decreased to minus 2.10% in September from 0.70% in August of 2024. Export prices, YOI, in the United States averaged 1.43% from 1984 until 2024, reaching an all-time high of 18.60% in...
Not too exciting. So, but again, what we want to see these export... And if you look at this trend line, guys, look at the export prices and what's happened. So you can see how our pricing power has just been heavily diluted. If you take out this blip for COVID, this is just like a line down. So our pricing power overseas has been heavily disrupted since the great financial crisis. It's just been weakened and weakened and weakened. Before the great financial crisis, look at our manufacturing base, guys. Look at the pricing power we could pull from overseas. This was like kind of still during the birth of really China taking off. But after 2008, they had so much money, they were able to just destroy our manufacturing base and that of Europe and other countries around the world. But so you can see that trend starting there. But we need to see export prices starting to go up a little bit more. and we need to see import prices continue to drop. That's the narrative I think happens in the future. Let's see. I don't know if Rick's going to have anything more interesting about this, but we'll see. Sometimes they dig into the finer details. DMX? Oh, I love it. If I can find DMX, I'll do it. All right.
Debate. Welcome back to Squawk Box. We're about to get some new data on import prices. Rick Santelli has it right now. Rick.
Absolutely. These are September prices for imports and exports. And of course, we want to pay particularly close attention to any information we garner regarding how this will affect deficits and trade, and of course, how they affect revisions to GDP. Import prices expected to be down 0.3 or down 0.4%. That would be the biggest month-over-month change of the year to the downside, going all the way back to December
Not very
of
inflationary.
last year. Now let's strip out petroleum. That month-over-month number is up 0.2, a bit better than expected, and reverses the negative read of minus 0.1 last month. It equals where we were in May. To find a higher number, you'd have to go to April, where you're up 0.6%. Now, let's switch gears and look at year-over-year import prices, down 0.1. We're expecting a number closer to unchanged. This follows a robust pop last month, which was up 0.8, and that up 0.8, of course, is now completely reversed to down 0.1. We haven't had a negative number in this series since February, when it was down 0.9%. Let's look at export prices on a month-over-month basis, expecting a number near down 0.5%, down 0.7%, and that's back-to-back down 0.7%. Those are comping, of course, to the biggest read, which was minus 2.1 mid-year last year, so we were talking May. What's interesting is down 0.7 is the way we finished the last 2 months of last year. We've had several readings this year, so it gives us an idea on the export side what's going on with regard to potential trade partners. And finally, on a year-over-year basis, down 2.1%, down 2.1%. That's the second biggest drop of the year. The first was down 2.4% in January. There's some subtle revisions coming out.
Revisions, okay, here we go.
Revisions, especially on the month-over-month
Ooh, that would
export
be
and
hot.
month-over and
Scarlett
year-over-year
Johansson.
export prices, which are down so dramatically. The revisions are bigger. So last month's
Oh,
down
okay.
0.7 now becomes down 0.9, and the year-over-year number goes from down minus 0.7 as well to down 0.9. These aren't painting a particularly good picture, even though IMF, of course, says global activity is going to pick up. We learned about inflation in the UK today. There's a lot of buzz about that with my sources, but do keep in mind.
Yeah, so this is fascinating. So Rick's touching on some good points here. So we had revisions that were lower too for previous months. So we're actually seeing a greater amount of deflation and pricing power and inflation across Europe, and Canada and other parts of the world. So this is very fascinating. Again, I think part of this is going to be China exporting deflation. Part of it is going to be them trying to crush different sectors of economies by controlling the manufacturing base. I don't think they win on that. I think we're going to really start doing a lot of tariffs. Trump already said that he's going to do 100% tariffs on any country that tries to leave the U.S. dollar. So that would be like Russia, Iran, a lot of BRICS. China definitely at the lead of that. And so that kind of pain and suffering would be a bargaining chip for them to be like, hey, let's do this. We'll do this. It's a way for us to go back and forth and prevent them from trying to disrupt the world reserve status of the U.S. dollar. And I think it's a brilliant move, and it's going to work out really well. It will also help with all this trade war that we have going on with China, where they're trying to destroy the manufacturing base of most of Europe and the West. So this is good. I don't know why this keeps dropping. I hate that. I hate how sometimes that happens. I don't have this up on another computer, but let's listen to the rest of what he has to say, and then we'll move on. Also, somebody had said this earlier, and I wanted to touch on it. Stephen Toro said, hey, he said, he asked about the banking thing with MicroStrategy and how that would work. How will they be able to be a Bitcoin bank? And I said, yes, they will, Stephen. That's the goal, to facilitate loans with Bitcoin as collateral from an entity you can trust and who uses the blockchain to be transparent. So what I mean by that is MicroStrategy would actually say, here's our reserves. You can see them. And so you know how we're levered. Like they'll do like full disclosures, I'm sure, and they won't do all the crazy stuff that you saw with like FTX and Voyager and all these other banks that were trying to just pull in massive amounts of yield. MicroStrategy's goal, I think, was for 5 to 7% or maybe 8% yield for the Bitcoin product, where they buy Bitcoin with share dilution, and so that they can generate a certain amount of yield. They could carry that on to end users too that store their Bitcoin with the bank. And again, being Bitcoin as collateral, like who wants to sell their Bitcoin and have a tax obligation? Nobody. So it makes sense that you would want to have a bank that you can trust, that you know is 100% Bitcoin, focused on Bitcoin, no shit coins, trustworthy, and verifiable, and again, just very transparent. I think that's going to be Michael Saylor. I think he'll be the biggest bank in the world. And again, like we said earlier with Hal Finney, who's Satoshi Nakamoto, despite what HBO thinks, the original envision was that this could happen, that Bitcoin could be tied in with the financial system and be a world reserve currency, not just a currency.
They're actually trying to address deficits. The U.S. is somewhat spending out of control, a really different flavor on many of our inflation metrics. And do keep in mind, and I'm sure this was talked about, but interest rates, they may have peaked at least temporarily. We're giving a 4% test to 10-year, and this is at a time where we just learned this morning from the MBA, 6.5%, a little higher, 52 on a 30-year mortgage. What is that, a 2-month high? So
he's going over the stuff I did earlier. There's nothing too exciting there. I'm just going to refresh and let him run, and then just mute him. If you guys have any news that's happening too, it says stocks making the biggest move pre-markets: Morgan Stanley, Cisco, ASML, and more. So if you guys see anything that's really interesting that I should be touching on, let me know. I do want to go through these videos and see if there's anything of interest that we want to start going to. If oil production starts rising, there could be an oversupply in 2025. This is the prevailing theme. Oh, Derek, thank you. Derek gifted 50 memberships today, but I'm glad to have him giving one to himself because that's important. Love you, Derek. Thanks, man, for the support. So this is a narrative, though, that I've been seeing a lot of. If oil production starts rising, there could be an oversupply in 2025. I think that's what's going to happen. I think OPEC seems to be falling apart at the seams. And in the process of that, I think it's going to be really detrimental to the price of oil, especially if Trump gets elected, because, I mean, if he wants to reduce, his pledge is to reduce the cost of energy by 50% plus in the first year. The only way you do that is by government incentives to increase the production of energy across the board, or again, just tax deductions, things that you could do to make it to where if, let's say, oil companies were putting their money into renewable energy, you want to make it to where they don't pay any tax to do that, where basically they have a reason, or nuclear, where they have a reason to diversify into other forms of energy and increase production without having to worry about tax complications. You want to incentivize these companies that made just a ton of money since the pandemic. A lot of these energy companies that are kind of suffering right now, you want to give them an incentive to where they can take a lot of that capital that they were able to pull in and they could apply it towards new forms of energy while driving down base costs of every product and service that exist in the United States, and also take some control away from the Middle East and their power that they have over the oil markets. I mean, they have a lot less power than they had in the 70s. We are the largest energy producer of oil on Earth, the largest LNG producer for gas on Earth. So we do have a lot of power, but I could see this happening more, and so I think that's the path we end up taking, guys. Good morning, degenerates. What up, bud? All right, so I want to watch this. I actually want to watch this real quick for a second, and then we'll jump back over to other stuff. And what else do we still have to cover? We got a lot. There's more economic data I want to go over. And there's a bunch of Tesla talk and then other stuff. So we got a lot of things we can communicate with. And again, if you guys have any news that comes up that I'm missing because I'm doing a live stream, let me know. Say something in the chat. We'll pull it up. All right.
So, Herman, what is the OPEC Plus reaction function here? How do they balance supply with production cuts, waning demand from China, and market share moving forward?
Yeah, well, this is sort of the challenging picture for OPEC Plus. You've got softening demand growth, prices under pressure, and then you've got, with the current cuts, about 5 to 6 million barrels per day of spare capacity. that they're holding offline. And this is, projects that they've spent billions of dollars developing that they're having to now sideline with these production cuts. And it's either sacrificed and produce lower for longer to try and prevent prices from being lower for longer, or it's throw in the towel and say, well, we're going to beat you on volume and take the hit on price. And some of the rumblings that I said out of Saudi Arabia, other OPEC countries, there's a feeling maybe that their patience has run out long enough. They've been cutting since October 2022. Bringing down volumes gradually, and this current tranche of cuts that they're looking to taper, that's been going on for over a year now. So, again, a lot of this may come down to compliance, as I said, Iraq and Kazakhstan. Iraq's overproduction was about 500,000 barrels per day, according to our Platts OPEC.
So again, these guys are just breaking their OPEC agreements. Saudi Arabia is probably one of the only ones really driving force right now. Russia's doing everything they can because they've got sanctions against them, and there's a discount that goes along with Russian oil, just because they have to unload it, and they have to unload it to people that are willing to take it or willing to risk sanctions. So they're desperate too. So you've got a lot of forces driving down the price of oil. And again, if Trump gets elected, it'll just fall through the floor. We'll decimate a lot of the Middle East in regard to the power that they have over the oil markets and just OPEC. So we'll have to make sure that we have some kind of agreement with Saudi Arabia, especially because we want to stay on their good side.
Survey in August, they brought that down about 200,000 barrels per day in September. So still over quota, but a much better outcome. Exports are falling, refinery runs are down. Kazakhstan, we know there's going to be major maintenance on its Kashagan field in October, so they're likely to do better once we get the other, once we get our figures in for the October production numbers. So, will that be good enough for Saudi Arabia and the rest of OPEC? Those are going to be some frank discussions that they're going to have ahead of that December 1st meeting, and even earlier as they look to make those decisions on term volumes in early November.
Indeed. And when it comes to OPEC Plus, it's really a question of how far the elastic band is going to stretch, Herman. What do you think?
I think it's going to break.
All of this means for prices mid to short.
And to be clear, this isn't a new opinion. I've been saying this for a while. I've been saying that OPEC is going to weaken because of what happened with Russia and now what's happening with Israel and Gaza. It's just you're going to see people, and especially with the threat of Trump potentially just crushing the prices of oil. They're going to want to get out as much oil as they can to be able to make money while they can, and fears that could be going away and they could have a really dark period.
Short term, do you think we have further to fall from here?
Well, if that tapering does happen and they
Amazon is going nuclear now. We're going to have to see that in a second.
You start lifting those quotas and production does start rising. There could be a situation where we do see an oversupply in 2025. That's certainly what our balance is at S&P Global Commodity Insights. That's what our forecasters are seeing in 2025. That, again, supply growth is going to outpace demand growth. So if you add that OPEC plus supply onto that, that puts some further downward pressure on prices, all things being equal. Of course, we have the geopolitics going on right now, and these attacks going on. Israel, Hezbollah, Iran may be dragged into this. We have the pledge, reported pledge by Israel not to attack Iranian oil facilities. We'll see if they hold that pledge.
Yeah,
we'll see if they feel the restraint being put on them by the U.S. and other allies in the region to stay away from that and not to.
Yeah, because Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are so intimidating. They're gonna attack nuclear facilities.
Disrupt energy.
I don't know if they'll do oil. I think they'll stay away from oil.
Markets to that extent. That remains an open question. Of course, we have the U.S. election coming up in early November. And there's a lot of attention being paid in the U.S. to what's happening in energy prices. A lot of efforts, a lot of diplomacy behind the scenes to keep that situation from boiling over.
All right, so real quickly, we're going to pause this. I want to see this real quick. So, breaking: Amazon goes nuclear, investing more than $500 million to develop small module nuclear reactors. This is a big deal. This is a real big deal. I think I saw this guy just talking a second ago. This is just another sign, guys, of what's to come. Oh yeah, hey, they might actually be talking about it now. Let me go back. So we're going to listen to this. This is a big deal. This screams death of oil even more, guys. This is such a good segue into what we just listened to. So let's go back. Energy is going to be very important over the next decade. We know that AI and EVs are going to be consuming tons of it. So energy infrastructure is going to be one of the biggest things that we can have in the future. So let's listen to what they have to say. 1 second here.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We've got some breaking news on a major investment from Amazon. Diana Olick joins us with an exclusive from Amazon's headquarters, too, in Northern Virginia. Diana?
Well, Becky, Amazon Web Services is announcing that it's investing more than $500 million in nuclear energy across 3 different projects as it seeks carbon-free power for generative AI and cloud computing. Here in Virginia, which is home to nearly half of all the data centers in the U.S., AWS just signed an agreement with Dominion Energy, the state's utility company, to explore the development of an SMR, that is a small modular nuclear reactor, near Dominion's existing North Annan nuclear power station. Dominion projects power demand will increase by 85% over the next 15 years. I just spoke with AWS CEO Matt Garman a few minutes ago about why nuclear.
We're looking forward, and we see the need for gigawatts of power in the coming years, and there's not going to be enough wind and solar projects to be able to meet the needs. And so nuclear is a great opportunity. Also, the technology is really advancing to a place with SMRs where there's going to be a new technology that's going to be safe. There's going to be easy to manufacture in a much smaller form factor.
Crazy.
SMRs are an advanced kind of nuclear reactor with a small.
This is so exciting, guys. This is so exciting. Just think about this, guys. Think about this. Think about what's going to happen in the near future when you've got big tech incorporating AI, small, medium companies incorporating AI and artificial intelligence, companies like Tesla and others pushing out robotics, pushing out autonomy. And then at the same time, they're also pushing for energy generation. Trump could play off the back of this and really benefit while helping drive down the prices at the same time. And again, GDP, I say this all the time, guys, but when we look at GDP, it is usually almost a direct reflection of the amount of energy being produced in a country. And again, it's employment, obviously, but when the more energy that you have, you can look at this and you can see wealth being built. And so we want much larger amounts of energy. We're going to need it for tech, and we're going to need it for robotics. We're going to need it for autonomy. We're going to need it for EVs. We're going to need it for AI. We're going to need it for all of it in much bigger quantities than we have right now. And it's awesome that we're seeing tech companies getting into this. This is really feeling like the 90s, guys. And I'm talking about like early to mid 90s. This isn't the dot-com bubble stuff. It might turn into that. It probably will. Right? And maybe it does it sooner than later. Maybe it's 2026 if we do things wrong, if we elect the wrong people, if we're doing, I think Kamala's thing about reparations for black people on top of $20,000 loans for black people. And she released all this stuff around Columbus Day. 0 fucking Indians with the feather included in this. I mean, 0 anybody. There's not a lot of white people included in this either, right? Or Indian with a dot or anybody really. Chinese, not a lot of people that aren't black included in this. I think just this divisiveness is going to hurt her cause, and it's absurdity, and it's bad for economics. So I think that I don't know. I think we're just seeing Trump getting closer to winning. We're seeing a lot of stars lining up for the tech sector and other parts of the economy to explode higher. So if we make the right choices, I really think we can see a lot of money in the next several years in these markets where people have just been dooming like crazy. We could see an economic boom like we've never seen before, especially if we can actually reduce the size of government spending while encouraging economic growth. Those are just the 2 key factors, guys. This is so exciting. I want to listen to the rest. This is probably going to be a pretty decent talk, but let's listen to it.
Smaller physical foot.
Which stocks profit from nuclear? I don't know. I'm not. I mean, uranium probably does. We could look at Euro right now, probably. Let's see what that's at. So this could totally profit if we just look over here. So what's it up today? 2.81% on uranium. Again, it's already had a good run. This ETF, it was at 696 back in March of 2020, so when the pandemic occurred, and it's been as high as $34. So from $6.96 to $34, already had a great run. But as you can see, uranium suffered greatly for a very long period of time. And this could go up more. It could go up more. What is SEG? UEC. So you guys got some ideas. You guys should talk about that in the Discord too. You guys should definitely talk about that in the Discord. Let's, because maybe we can come up with some good plays. Bro, I'm Indian. Love Bob Marley. Do I qualify? No, I'm sorry. You got to be black. Got to be black. That's how you get the money. Evidently, that's what you do. You buy votes for whatever population that you need. So evidently, from what I understand of Kamala Harris, if you're a black man, you like to smoke weed and invest in crypto, and you need loans for businesses, and you should get reparations. It kind of sounds like what they've done to Indians, feather, not dot, in the United States since Columbus came to the country. We kind of put them on a reservation of, don't try very hard. We know you're only capable of so much. We'll put you over here. I don't think that's helped Indians at all. I don't think the whole separating them from us helps. I don't think that helps. I think the approach that we had with Japan, where we conquered there, right? But then we said, hey, we want to be your friends. Let's work together. Let's rebuild. Let's make you better. That's what we should have done with the Indian population in our country. Not that they can't maintain their heritage, but we should have tried to incorporate them into our society. And I think we should do the same thing with poor people all over the country, not just people of a certain color, even though there might be more black people that fit into that demographic. We need to stop looking at color. We need to pretend like we're Martin Luther King. And we need to look at people based on their merit and try and give everybody equal opportunity, not equal outcome, but equal opportunity, and try and motivate people to do more and be better. And luckily, with all these robots and stuff, we can help everybody. We can help everybody with autonomy, robotics, AI. We can make the world, we can make it an age of abundance if we don't kill ourselves. So let's shoot for that. Anyway, back to Amazon and nuclear power.
Allowing them to be built closer to the grid. They also have faster build times.
If you identify as a black man, I think you do qualify. If I understand how DEI works and one's ability to be able to identify as whatever they want to, I do think that works. You might have to get a license that says that though. But I'm sure they'll hook you up. You just got to tell them that's the way it is.
Than traditional reactors.
It is safer, and so the technology is self-contained in how the cooling is done, and so it's a new technology and how that.
This is cool stuff. This is stuff that Bill Gates was experimenting with in China because the U.S. regulations wouldn't allow them to do it here. I actually think this is really cool. Nuclear reactors that are super safe, can be buried underground in facilities that, where people don't know where they are. You don't have to worry about somebody attacking them. And then at the same time, they could run large cities. You could have a couple of these in a city and literally run the entire thing. You identify as a black lesbian woman, Victor, you're going to be rich. That's a lot of loans right there. That's a lot of loans, and I don't think anybody can fire you.
That works, and it is a fundamentally different way about going about powering these plants, and so it is a safer technology.
Amazon is also announced.
Now, here's the real culmination, Victor. Sorry, I should really focus on this reactor story. So if you're black, lesbian, but you're actually transgender, I think that would really flip it on its head. I think that would do it.
Announcing a new agreement with utility company Energy Northwest.
Oh, we're going there. Okay, Stephen Toro, are we good now with my claims of Optimus being remote? Yes, you were right. Fuck off, Stephen. No, you were right. You were right. You got it. Yeah, you were right. You guys were right. Here's the thing. I just get so tired of people attacking Elon Musk all the time. And here's the thing. He's going to be there. He's going to be there really quick, okay? So he's going to be there really quick. So I just get defensive. I like to defend the man who's made me a bunch of money and who's making the world a better place. So that's on me. All right, back to our other conversation. Alvaro says the problem is that people have been brainwashed to be entitled to equal outcome, no matter your effort. So especially people that, I'm all for equal opportunity. I don't think there's enough of that. I think there's poor, disenfranchised communities that need to have more wealth. But to be clear, like Theo Von said, the comedian guy with the mullet, he was made a joke. I would probably just bastardize it, but basically talking to a black friend and having them say like, we're so poor. And he's like, bro, I'm right here, man. I got nothing. Like I feel your pain. I'm with you. And to be clear, like again, we just shouldn't segment people by race. We should try and give people equal opportunities. We shouldn't care about people's sexuality. It shouldn't be the most important thing in your life. If it is, I feel bad for you, because if the best thing you have going is what you identify with, that's fucking sad. You should maybe have some real world accomplishments, but we should try and help people. And yes, Bal Japal says DEI is racist. It is. It is. We should be giving people more based upon their merit. Based upon their merit. That was Martin Luther King's vision of the future. And to be clear, Democrats are some of the most racist people throughout history. They fought a war against Abraham Lincoln to keep slavery in the South so that they could have people picking their cotton fields. So, and then they created the KKK, Democrats. And then even after Republicans had people in Congress that were black, it took Democrats almost 30 fucking years to do the same thing. Or Democrats, hopefully I said that right. So, to be clear, Democrats are not the party of black people, and I won't say what they said, but I forget which president it was, but he basically said he would have black people voting for him for 100 years. And he was close, got about 50. But now I think a lot of people are waking up and they're like, what have these guys actually done for us? How is my life better? And I don't know. Hopefully it gets better. People shouldn't vote based upon what they see 90% of the other people that have the same skin color as them do. I don't care if Obama tells you to. You should think with your head and make choices. And if a party hasn't helped you for 50 years and they said they'd enslave you for another 100 and get you to vote for them, and they were the people that literally wanted to keep you as slaves, maybe don't fucking vote for them. Just an idea. Just an idea. Anyway, back to nuclear reactors, because I feel like I'm going off base here. Thank you to the 522 people that are here. I appreciate you. If you like what you're hearing, hit the like button. Very much appreciated. Thank you, guys. Back to it. As you guys can see, for anybody who's new here, I really hold back on my emotions and I hold back on my thoughts because that's the appropriate way to be.
Invest in the development of SMRs in Washington state. The reactors will be built, owned, and operated by Energy Northwest, but will provide energy directly to the grid, which will also help power Amazon operations. As part of that, Amazon's Climate Pledge Fund is also announcing that it is the lead anchor in a $500 million financing round for X-Energy, a developer of these SMR reactors and fuel. X-Energy will provide the SMR parts and nuclear fuel needed for the Northwest Energy Project. Amazon is just the latest in a slew of tech giants investing in nuclear. On Monday, Google announced that it will buy power from SMR developer Kairos Power. That power will come from Kairos's SMR.
It's so awesome to see nuclear coming back. I love that, especially in a new form that's safer. Victor, thank you very much for the 10 memberships. You guys are awesome.
SMR is the first expected to be online by 2030. Back to you guys.
Hey, Diana, I was noting here, and I thought this was interesting, that there's a personal investment being made in all of this by Ken Griffin of Citadel. And also looking here that Ares Management is a big investor in this.
Yeah, there are a lot of investors behind this. Of course, as you saw big tech going into it, you mentioned earlier that Microsoft is also behind another to open 3 Mile Island and get nuclear power. They see this as a great alternative. I mean, wind and solar are there, but they say it's just not enough. And so you're seeing big backers big and small, actually, from some of the startups we talk about, as well as big tech and the investors behind that getting into nuclear now because it is scalable, and they believe that they can get many of these small-scale reactors right next to the data centers where they need them to power all of this AI we keep talking about.
Okay, Diana, thank you. Appreciate it. For more on Big Tech's plans to...
We'll listen to that in a second. I just think that's just amazing. Also, I'm seeing... we got to jump around, guys. There's so much going on today. So there's earnings-related stuff I wanted to talk about. I think I had one post here, too, from Amit. Even though he's on vacay. Where is it? Damn it, Amit. Where'd you put it? I must have missed it. We'll just find it. And then we'll go back to the other stuff that I have. Because there's so much to talk about, guys. There's so much good stuff right now. Crossroads said he might get me early access. I don't know if I should say this online. Well, fuck it. Whatever. I got a big mouth. He said that he might be able to get me early access to the new trading platform on Robinhood. I didn't say that. But where is it? Amit had a good post here. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, God, he's just spamming shit. Come on, Amit. Slow down on your content, bro. I mean, I'm guilty of this too, but let's see. We can find it somewhere. Ah, right here. Okay, this is good. I'm going to bookmark this real fast. I didn't realize I hadn't. I thought I probably published my own comments to it and then forgot to save it. But so this is one of many things we're going to talk about with earnings. Remember how yesterday there was like this doom and gloom about earnings revisions getting lower, but then when you looked at them, actually the stock market, even though it went up 38% since 2020, that PE ratios were down 19%, indicating that the companies are doing a lot better and that they're actually more cheaply valued than they were at that point in time. Look at this. Today, these companies beat on both their revenues and earnings per share. So they might be revising down, but they're revising down to really great numbers. And we looked at retail sales too. Some of these numbers for online shopping were revised down to like this year, down to like 8.5% from 9.3 or 10 the year before. But look at this. These are all beats. All beats, guys. Everything's just beating. So again, the world isn't falling apart. It is not all doom and gloom. Some people would love to have you believe that. It doesn't make it true. Also, my buddy Lance Roberts, coming to the markets in 2 weeks, buybacks, running at roughly $6 billion per day. But November and December are the two biggest months for buybacks for the year. So we've got large buybacks, but we're going to see an increase in buyback activity heading into the end of the year. Why do you think the end of the year is such a great time for markets? I'm going to say this is part of it. And so the big tech will benefit from that, just to be clear. Big tech will benefit from that. Lance Roberts also says global liquidity has surged higher recently as central banks reverse into accommodation mode. We've been talking about this for a while. So right now we have monetary liquidity just pumping all around the world. We can see that everywhere. And soon we'll have fiscal. If the right people get elected and if they have enough control. So it said that liquidity boost should continue to support higher equity prices. I would say between buybacks, between the PE ratio still being low, and between global liquidity expanding, in and of itself, is pretty positive. All right, you guys talking about nuclear? Okay, cool. Soaring Shitty says, I'm excited about upcoming uranium rallies since I've been investing in junior uranium miner ETF since earlier this year. You guys are all about you guys love the big shinies. It's all about nuclear today. I mean, rightfully so. It's probably a good thing to research. I should know more about it. Earnings growth points to a potential upside for the Magnificent Seven. Again, Lance Roberts. It's the Lance Roberts day. He says, overall tech earnings rapidly outpacing other sectors. This is a completely different narrative than what mainstream media from Bloomberg and others were painting yesterday. Underperformance of megacaps at odds with higher earnings expectations. So they're saying earnings expectations are higher for megacaps, but they're underperforming. I just call that sector rotation. Personally, I call that breadth expansion. But you do you, Bloomberg. Whatever narrative you want to paint that day, you do you. All right, so this one is Sources LSEG Data and Analytics Capital Economics. It says, Chart 2, 12-month forward EPS estimates of S&P 500 sector indices. IT are exploding, right? Tech, the thing that everybody, like all these other guys are like, be a value investor. Don't invest in tech. Tech is going up exponentially. Communication services is trending higher. Median of other GICS sectors, X energy. What is GICS? Does anybody know off the top of their head? I actually don't know that. Range of other GIC sectors. I need to know this acronym. But the big thing I wanted you to get off of this is tech and communication services. Things that are tech-y are going to do really well in the future. I already talked about this. I do want you to know, bar chart, they've been a little negative on markets. I love these guys, though. They gave me one of my first big opportunities to help grow my channel. They said fund managers reduced their bond allocation by the largest amount in history last month. So I do think people might not be flooding out of money markets right now, but they are flooding out of bonds. And that's why you're seeing their yields go up. And it's not even a bad thing right now. I think that you just got to realize this. TLT is going to be a good hedge in the future. It's probably just going to be spring because people are still, even though the bond market, let's just look at this real quick. The bond market has had its worst route since the 1700s, depending upon how you're weighing it, which was a long time ago. Country hasn't been around much longer than that. So that was pretty painful. I feel bad for people with 60-40 portfolios. I shouldn't even laugh when I say that because they got absolutely decimated, right? But you can see how we're still down right now from where we were in the high. We're still down by like 47% on TLT, this 20-year bond fund, which is a huge rout. Because if you go back here, since this fund was originally created just for the 20-year, and some of these look worse. Like this isn't the 1700s one. Let's just put it that way. But it hasn't been around that long. But if you look back to 2002, when this thing was started, we're kind of at levels that we were at in 2003, April 2003. So it's like 21 years didn't happen for the bond market. But now they're getting crushed even more, right? When everybody was getting excited, they're getting crushed even more. And why is that happening? Because people, what would normally happen when an economic cycle picks up is people would, after bonds have went up a ton, because that's what's supposed to happen, everybody jumps to the safety of the U.S. government bonds, right? But that didn't happen this time because people were worried about outrageous spending. Thank you to the almost 600 people here. Holy crap. Thank you. Hit the like if you want. I'm not going to ask anymore, but I do appreciate you guys. And this is the biggest stream I've ever had for the market open. So thank you guys. Really huge. I appreciate you. But so we didn't see that last time. 686. How can that be possible? That can't be right. Okay, whatever. But yeah, so we didn't see the bond market go up because people didn't believe it. Okay, they didn't believe it, and they didn't believe that the government would be able to sustain its debts in the future, and with good reason, right? And so you just had this meltdown across the board, across everything, and the bond market is still going to feel that pain for a while. This is my argument. Because now that normal rotation is occurring where people jump out of bonds and they get into equities, but the bond market was already incredibly depressed. So you're going to see that continue to be bad. You're going to continue to see that roll over and go and get worse for them. And I think that's great because TLT will be something you can buy into. And if somebody like Trump gets elected and the head of Doge, Elon Musk, really butchers inefficient government and inefficient systems. Derek, you guys are insane. Thank you guys. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. So if these inefficient systems get butchered and we're able to create efficiency in government and lower costs and while we're lowering rates and that will see a corresponding drop in the inflation, or I should say this, in the amount that we're paying on the interest on our own debts in this country. If that gets lower than the military, if that starts to drop underneath some of these other things, like, Medicare, Social Security, all these other areas that we spend a lot of money on, then we can start to get ourselves to something sustainable. And that's exciting. And so, but the bond market is starting to go crap. Maybe Trump gets elected. The bond market, Jesus, Susan. Okay. You guys are awesome. I think that's 90 memberships that have been gifted today. Something like that. Maybe 100. Thank you guys so much. But yeah, I think the market's getting optimistic. I think it sees Trump winning. It sees energy costs going down. It sees expansion in the United States. It sees a path towards sustainability with our debts and our government. And if those things happen, we could just see a massive explosion. Dude. Oh, we're going to need more people in the stream to give these to. Does it roll over to the next one? I don't even know. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. Seriously. But so I think the bond market will come around, and I think it's going to be a good hedge in the future. It's one of the primary hedges that I'm looking at. This TLT is probably a good one. The long end of the curve has been suppressed, and all that means, guys, when they say long end of the curve, it's just another way to try and obfuscate and make it to where it's confusing for you to understand. But they're talking about you guys, Jesus Christ. Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Derek. Thank you, everybody. who's contributed. I can't even keep up. Thank you guys. But yeah, so eventually the long end of the curve. All right, you guys got to let me finish my thought though. The long end of the curve is just really longer dated bonds, right? And then the shorter end of the curve is the short issuance treasuries. The government has been sustaining itself off of shorter issue treasuries, and they've been starving out the long end of the curve, these longer dated bonds, the 10, the 20, the 30 year, by not issuing. Mike, my God. Woo, you guys. It has been starving out the longer end of the curve to keep those yields from jumping too high. And they don't want to issue long-term debt because they don't want to issue it at 5% interest, right? So they're issuing shorter dated treasuries that they can pay off in 3 months, a year, whatever, so that this eventually starts to curve down and can be more sustainable in the future. It's actually a really brilliant move by the Treasury to be able to manage the bond market. But I think in the future, bonds are going to be a good hedge. Jesse, is it possible for you to create a second video on Tesla like you had 7 months ago? Yeah, I could do another one. Yeah, you guys are all the man and woman with Susan. Thank you all very, very much. This is huge. I don't even know, what is it, 115 now, 120 memberships gifted this one. This is crazy. This is worse than the OnlyFans account. Susan, you so well deserved, Jesse. This is just the beginning for you. Thanks. Thank you, guys. As you guys know, I turned off ads because I don't want to be subject. And then Brandon still signed up himself. Thank you, Brandon. I turned off ads because A, I don't want to waste your time. B, I don't want to be dependent on YouTube because they censor my content sometimes. And I don't have to worry about that. I can play whatever videos I want. I can say whatever the fuck I want. I mean, maybe within reason. They might still try and block me in the future. But that's why I'm on X. That's why I set up memberships on that. That's why I have a Discord. Is because if somebody takes me out on one platform, I'm still on others. And I really appreciate you guys and just all your assistance in supporting this channel. And my wife. And thank you, TSLA in minors too. That's probably 120 memberships now. So if you guys are in the chat, thank these people. Thank these fellow members for what they're doing right now. All right, let's move on. So again, the whole point, I think in the future, TLT is going to be a really good thing. I do want to get back over here. I want to hear more about energy conversation. And I'll let you guys know, I monitor CNBC all the time. I've got a bunch of memberships to a bunch of different things. And I guess I'm going to have to add more in the future because I want to get the best data we can get for this community. I want to be the best community ever. Just like Satharatha. I'm going to try and get that right, bro. I'll do my best. I love you guys. All right, let's keep going here. Let's listen to what they have to say about nuclear.
Power AI using nuclear energy. We are joined right now by Mark Nelson, Radiant Energy Group Managing Director. How realistic is this in terms of what does the time frame look like? Because we've been talking about nuclear for a very long time, but sort of getting it right and getting it soon seems to be the bigger question.
Timeline is absolutely going to be one of the fairest and first questions. I think without a doubt, we're going to see this load for new AI locked in place with whatever power plants are available as the long-term plan to deploy nuclear comes to fruition. In other words, they're going to figure out where they want to put data centers, make sure transmission is going to work, get whatever power they can available, and then build it up as along with deploying the new nuclear.
But I think the bigger question is, where is this stuff going to actually reside? Are they going to get the permits?
Real quick, I should probably say this since we have 140 new people that can talk and chat today. Thank you. I see what you did there, Disease Kodak. Yoda best, Jesse. Thank you. But you guys now in the morning show, in the market open, and also in the, yeah, right, Alex, and in the market recap that I do at 3 p.m. I normally start the morning show around 7, sometimes a little bit later if economic data is slow. But you'll be able to ask for stocks too and ask about finance and just ask questions, and I'll try and keep up with them and answer them. And again, memberships on YouTube are as low as $2. Memberships on Discord are only $5. And then you can contribute more, but you don't have to. And then memberships on X are $5. So if you were all in on me for $12, you would have access to everything I do. The exclusive content for posts on X, all the historical stuff that's sitting on Discord, which is a lot. We talk about a lot of stuff on Discord. You get my YouTube alerts, you get my X alerts for all the posts that I do on there too. You get my trades that I've done recently. You get my portfolio allocation, which I do need to update. I'm going to work on that today. I've just been so busy. And then you get access to charts across everything, and then channels for dedicated stocks. And so you can see what people are saying about Palantir. Not just me. There's a whole community in here, guys. You can see what people are saying about PayPal. In fact, you guys are the vast majority of this. I am not it anymore. I pale in comparison to the stuff you guys put out daily in regard to all of these. So if you guys want a wealth of community information and access to tools and just all kinds of cool stuff that we're looking to grow, the Discord is awesome too. The ones I prefer the most are X and Discord. I'm trying to do less on YouTube because I just don't like censorship. I don't think anybody should. You guys are amazing though. Oh, I got to get back to my thoughts here. Also, Bloomberg, it's weird that Bloomberg said this, but Trump trades heat up. Maybe not his shitcoin, but the trades. SAP dethrones ASML as Europe's most valuable tech company. Get more of the latest info and stuff. But here's the interesting post here. It's this image, right? Oh, I just can't get into it. I really hate Bloomberg. All right, let's just zoom in a little bit. So it says Trump trades is back. Stocks benefiting from Republican policy gains ahead of election. You can see how the narrative was Harris was going to do better, but that is flipped. And so now Democratic outperformers are starting to underperform, and Republican are outperforming. So again, this is just another indication that we're seeing something like that. We're seeing something where this is going in a different direction, and potentially a positive one. Yeah, we've got over 603 watching right now. Very excited about that. Let's finish this guy's thoughts on nuclear energy, and then we'll just go from there. We'll probably jump into a stock picking section, and then if anybody has any amazing news that's coming up that we need to know about too, please throw it out there. This is the most watched stream I've ever had that's not like a earnings call, so this is really exciting. I think the morning stream's really taken off. I love you guys.
To do it, is there going to be a whole sort of not in my backyard situation still? Has that changed?
It absolutely has changed. So one of the first things I would say is that almost every American
agreed that narrative is just gone.
Nuclear plant was originally sized back in the 1970s and 80s for double or triple the amount of nuclear power that eventually got built with the turn away from nuclear in the 80s and 90s after 3 Mile Island and Chernobyl. So existing nuclear plants have massive available transmission corridors, and you don't have to get anyone's permission to add more wire to go through it if you aren't taking any new land. Then at the nuclear plants that have been operating for 30 or 40 years, now that turns into a strength because it means that everyone living around the plant knows about the plant, perhaps works at the plant, goes to schools paid for by the plants. There's a yes in my backyard that you're going to see overwhelmingly in these projects.
Yeah, if you have smaller nuclear reactors that can't have thermal meltdown, you're going to see a lot more people being okay with having them around, right? Especially if they're burying these things in the ground too.
In terms of cost and in terms of return, given the way the technology works right now, do you look at this sort of slate of big investments as, major wins economically? Do they need to be tested to sort of get to the next place because there's going to be sort of, cost issues on the first round of these?
Well, this is just the beginning. That's what I'd say first. So, for example, this Amazon deal is much bigger than Google's deal from 2 days ago, but it's much smaller than Microsoft's deal from several weeks ago. So the Microsoft deal is valued in over $10 billion of electricity from nuclear, but this Amazon deal is an excellent start. What we'll start to see is a race between the biggest tech companies to make bigger and bigger, more immediate investments in nuclear power. This is still a very gentle feeler effort in a way from Amazon, as exciting as it is for the nuclear industry.
Should we be worried? Someone actually sent me just a note right now about this. Is there any worry that nuclear, given the capital requirements to get it going, becomes owned by all the big tech companies?
I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, much more likely is that big tech companies do not want to operate nuclear. So to get a nuclear plant built is still going to require funding and buy-in from a lot of parties. I think what's going to be clear is that after a decade of pointing the public and the government and nonprofits in one direction, all the big tech companies said, we're powered by renewables. It was false. It was never true. They were being powered by the grid, which is coal, nuclear, hydro, and some renewables. So, and natural gas. What we're seeing now is that the big tech companies are finally stepping up to a leadership position that they always should have had to deploy the nuclear that will benefit all of society.
All right, real quickly, this was an interesting comment that I thought was pretty applicable to what we're hearing right now. Heinz In says, does the ramp up in power help Bitcoin and miners over the long run? And the answer is yes, it helps everything. It helps everything, guys. Additional nuclear energy, additional oil capacity, additional natural gas. We're already leading in LNG, natural gas, and oil for the production for the world. And we make enough oil to sustain ourselves right now. But if you see energy just exploding, the base cost of every good and service on Earth uses energy. So if you can lower prices of energy substantially, and then you have pro-growth policies, you could see the USA explode. I've been saying this for a long time. Everybody thinks we've got the age of doom in front of us. We could be looking at the birth of utopia if we don't destroy ourselves in the next 10 years. If AI doesn't kill us, if we don't kill ourselves with war and nuclear power, if we don't do stupid shit, we could just find massive amounts of wealth and an age of abundance in front of us. Because when you lower the price of the base goods of all transportation, because again, energy, right? How do you get vehicles around? When you lower the cost of whatever it costs, all costs have a base cost of energy. When you wipe that out or really significantly drop it, and you have pro-growth policies, you're going to see just massive wealth creation, massive innovation. And we're already at a time where all these things are feeding off of each other, where genomics could make massive leaps, where AI, robotics, and all these things could just make massive leaps that feed off of each other, including energy. And so science is going to be a wild thing in the near future, guys. It's going to be really wild. Solar just needs batteries. That's the big thing. And what is Elon producing the most of on Earth right now? And the highest grade, best quality batteries on Earth. Literally, the highest graded batteries on Earth come from Tesla. They don't come from these other companies like LG or any of the others. They come from Tesla.
Who are the big winners in this, what's investable here?
Yes, I'm bullish PayPal.
If there's folks who are watching this saying to themselves, is there a way to invest in this in the right way?
Well, here's what I would say. This is probably a picks and shovels play where there's a lot of technology development that's involved in this Amazon deal. There's a lot of experimental work that needs to happen, a lot of engineering, prototyping. It's very exciting for the development side, but if you're looking at deploying now, it's probably going to be some other players. Here's what I would say. If big tech is willing to throw off 10 years of anti-nuclear dogma from inside their own companies, because they desperately need the power, I would say that's a bet on big tech being serious and pragmatic to get the energy it has to have. And what that means, it's long nuclear.
Okay. Mark, I want to thank you for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
I agree. It's definitely long nuclear. It's long everything. And guys, we're at over 633 people. 37 people right now. So huge thanks. My biggest stream up until yesterday for the morning show was 578. So it's just awesome to have additional people here. I love you guys. I really appreciate you. All right, so we're going to fast forward on this one. We're going to let it run. We'll keep watching the stream live, and if anything interesting comes up, you guys will be the first to know about it. I am going to see Kyle gifted 10. I've lost count. Is this 160 memberships that have either been gifted or added? I don't even know anymore. It's something. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Let's go back here. I want to see what other potential
We're also
videos.
Coming into a really
we're going to kill this. We want to go back. I want to see what other potential videos we have in here. So this is the one of the extra things. So I paid for Pro with CNBC, but now I've added evidently additional videos that I can get access to that before I wouldn't have had access to. So hopefully now we'll have access to all this content. Dario says, if Tesla goes down, will you purchase new call options? Can you tell me the price? I'll probably purchase the same one. I don't know. I might maybe push to January 2027, maybe. For 4,300 viewers on X. That's awesome, Mr. Gav. I'll always let you guys know. I mean, that's what I do. On X, you'll get the quickest notification, then comes Discord. But again, like if you look at Discord over here, the last trade I've done, my scroll bar doesn't work well, 1 second. The last trade I've done is right over here. Today's trades, my portfolio. So that was my last trade, 1011, 1057. Jan, thank you for joining, my friend. You can see where I sold BITX and MSTX last week because these are multipliers to the underlying, and I use that to buy Tesla, a lot of Tesla, and $140,000 worth that day. So yes, I do that. I put them in here. I tell you guys what I'm doing. You can see the strike prices after I do it. So I do all those things. All right, real quickly here, I'm going to get back over. I have not taken my potty break today. And I've been going since over 2 hours. So I might actually find a good video here for us to look at. Amazon goes nuclear. We saw that. Ooh, soft landing narrative. May not play out exactly. Whatever. I don't believe that. Great risk to the downside in U.S. markets. All right, so we'll listen to these negative Nancys real quick and see what they have to say. Oh, we got the bell? Well, let's just do that. 1 second.
Talk more.
Let's get to the bell. It is 8:30. You're right. Let's just go back to here. And we'll let this play. We'll do this. We'll go back a minute. I'm going to let the bell play while I hit the restroom. 1 second, guys. Be right back.
Is that Nick Sirianni razzing the fans? Is that what that is? Is he chirping us? Microsoft and Apple. Microsoft. I see negative notes from Microsoft for the first time. Microsoft. Never mind. Sorry, I bothered.
And the real-time exchange of the big board. Guess what? It's RXO celebrating its recent acquisition of Coyote Logistics at the NASDAQ. It's the Food Network, New York City Wine and Food Festival, sponsored by Invesco, the Triple Qs, celebrating 17 years, Jim.
Well, anyway, so Microsoft's down big. That is a note from BMO talking about Copilot maybe not doing that well. I will counter that by saying Charlie Sharp, the CEO of Wells Fargo, is on the board of Microsoft, and he said it's doing incredibly well. So as between BMO saying that it may not be doing that well and Sharp on the board saying it's doing well, I'm going with Sharp, and period, end of story.
Well, while we're in the area of mega cap tech, Jim, this Amazon nuclear pact, just one more addition to the story about energy supply, data centers.
Man, our friendly Mr. Adam. It is a remarkable thing.
It's just so awesome to hear about how the expansion in AI and big tech, and then also about what's happening with energy. This is so positive for America, guys. This isn't Europe. This isn't China. China can't even get... I just want to go off on one quick rant here. I'm going to let this play. I'm going to switch it to live. I'm going to mute it. But I want to go off on just a super quick rant for the 652 people here. China can't get AI to work well. Why is that, you ask? Great question. When you censor the shit out of everything, you can't find truth. It's one of the reasons why models like OpenAI, I think, are going to have more problems in the future, because they're trying to be like DEI, politically correct. And when you don't search for a quest for truth, you hinder the technology. So China is the worst version of that. If you try to look up Winnie the Pooh, you can't find it in China because people make fun of Xi Jinping for being Winnie the Pooh. So there's all these little subtle nuances, right, where all these lies and deceptions cause major problems and I better switch here. I'm going to turn off extended down at the bottom right. But they cause major problems for the technology to work. Your technology has to be based off truth. If you don't have that with AI, you've got a fallacy and you've got a broken system. And so China can't get this to work. And Europe doesn't have the ambition to and is overregulated. And we've been pushing towards overregulation. But I think there's potential that we break the back of that and go in the opposite direction. And if that happens, man, holy crap, are we all going to make so much money? Because if this is the early 90s or mid 90s even, if this can be years and years of growth before we eventually have a major bubble, this could just be great. This could be really great, and I'm excited for the future, and I hope you guys are excited too. If you look at the bottom right, you'll see that we're still finding support on Bitcoin. I'm actually going to jump. I'm going to let this play, but I'm going to jump over real quick. We got a lot of stuff to cover. So just looking over here, if we look at Bitcoin, so the question, somebody asked a question earlier, and it was a good one. It said, are we finding support? And I'm arguing we are, and here's why. When I draw this, you could draw these trend lines in different ways. You can have them be candle body. You can have them go out to the wicks. You can do all kinds of stuff. But candle body really matters. And if we look at the daily close, we aren't there yet, but we're really close, right? We're really close. We did close at 67,000, right? We closed at 67,000, I think on was it yesterday? Why am I thinking yesterday? Yeah, right down here. But we haven't closed above this trend line, which is at 67,724. So what I would love to see today, just because, again, if you look at candle bodies, and this one you could redraw it a little bit. I probably should, actually. Let me just fix this here. So I want to draw this down because I want to get this as close to accurate as possible so we know we're getting a good read. So I actually need to bring this up. So we're probably still under resistance if I actually draw this the correct way. Let me just see. It's going to be close. Yeah, that's probably really close. That's really close. Let's just draw this down a little bit. You got to get this. You got to get this really right if you want to get it right. Okay, that makes tons of sense, doesn't it? All right. So 1 second here. Okay, so right about there. So we're still underneath. So we're still. If we look at this here, we're still kind of underneath the resistance line. We're not over it. If we use the daily, we're technically underneath of it, and we're still waiting on our breakout. Now, what I would love to see at the end of the today for Bitcoin, what would be amazing is if we were like at 68. If we can get 68, and again, we were above it, right? If we can get 68 for our close, then we're ready for a breakout. And that's when things get fun. And again, it might not happen all at once. We might not get a God candle out of the gate, but I think there's a very high probability that we go up at least 36% on Bitcoin from where we are right now in the next month or two. I've got a very strong, like 90+% conviction that it'll happen in that time frame. So I am not bearish right now at all on Bitcoin. I'm very excited about it. I think there's a great opportunity to make money here. Let's get caught up in chat here. So we got Casino Open Baby is what Alex Garcia says. Chien O says, Amazon, what do you think about Amazon today? Buy? Amazon could do good. I don't know if it's a buy. I'll pull it up here real quick. I haven't looked at it, honestly, the chart in a while, so let's just take a look. I know the company is in good shape. I was shorting this for a while. It made me money, but I mean, it did drop, 60%? So this was when China started to slow down, this was a great narrative. But we found really good support. Look at this. Look at the volume underneath of us. This is the visible volume range profile. You get it with premium, with TradingView, but I wouldn't get it now. I tell people this all the time. Don't get it now. And here's why I wouldn't get it now. Because come, what is it? God, what is the holiday coming up after Thanksgiving? Black Friday. They have a Black Friday sale that is 50 to 70% off TradingView subscriptions. So you can get it for like a year at 70% off potentially. Use my code when that comes. They give me a code. They give it to like some of the bigger TA guys on X. And last year they gave me one. They gave me a year's. So I don't get. I'll tell you, I don't do promotions. I just don't do any of that stuff. I don't get paid by people to do things. But I will tell you this: with TradingView, they gifted me because I was able to get them a few, because I was new at that time, a new YouTuber, but I was able to get a few people traffic their way. They gave me a year's subscription for free. So I love them. And it's the best. It's the gold standard. But wait till Black Friday. Just like Dave said there, wait till Black Friday, because if you could save a bunch of money, that's how they get their hooks into you. It's way better to wait. But yeah, look at this. Look at this. All volume is underneath of us. And we're perfectly consolidating right above the previous highs. So yes, I would say just drawing this over the shorter time frame here from down here in 2024 up here. Sorry, I don't know why that happens sometimes. I gotta get TradingView to fix this. But from down here to up here, assuming this is the bottom for my trend-based extension, we could very easily, I think, get to 212 or 230 in the not too distant future. Because if you look at this trend line I have in blue, going all the way back here to like January 2018, I mean, maybe you could draw it just a little bit lower. This is a little subjective, I gotta say. Yeah, like maybe like this. So we could still go, we could go up here and it wouldn't be crazy. It would be kind of similar to what happened over here. But I just think there's so many other asymmetric bets right now, guys. Amazon isn't really something I'm focused on. Disease Kodak says, Celsius and Mara, let's run it. Are they doing good? Is Celsius doing good? Nerd Shack, Tesla is the most important company over the next 20 years. Stack them shares. I 100% agree. Alfredo Hernandez. Jesse, how long can you stay in BITX before it starts? Every day, it's counterproductive. So to be clear, anything that's a leveraged ETF is counterproductive the longer you hold it, because there's a rebalancing they do every night. Basically, there's theta decay like you would have with options. That's how they get you the higher yield. So every day that you hold this thing, that it doesn't have the momentum going in your direction, you're seeing it erode. So BITX is a 2x play off of Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin rockets over the next week, you're going to love that play. But each night, it erodes a little bit of that 2%. So maybe the next day, it's 1.97 or 1.98. And then the next day from where you bought it, it's down to 1.97 or 1.96. So I don't know if it erodes that quickly. It might be an over-dramatization. But you need to understand that when these leveraged funds, they eat away your return. So you want to buy them when you're really low, right? When you're really low and something's just very overextended, you maybe sell some of your, if you have an ETF or something, like if you had a GBTC or like the BlackRock fund or Fidelity or whatever, if you owned one of those and Bitcoin just fell like 40% and it's stupid and you know it's super cheap, that's when you dial into the BITXs. That's when you dial into the MSTXs, the leveraged plays off of Bitcoin. You don't do them otherwise. Hey guys, we got to get to 700 today because 666 is a bad omen. So please hit the likes, do everything you can to promote the channel so we can get past that. Oh, 664, that works too. Going down works too. But yeah, so that's what I would say on that. Alfredo says, oh no, that was you. Derek Wall, amen. And I think that was about comments with China not doing well with AI because of the fact that they were, and correct me if I'm wrong, Derek, but you can't have a system built off of lies. Shiano, yes, Iron, so glad I bought it. Congrats. Yeah, I bought a lot of Iron too. So people that don't know this, that might be newer here, when Meet Kevin was doing everything wrong with investing because he's trying to pretend like he's a good investor, when in reality, he just owned Tesla at the right time and is a really good real estate guy and is learning investing and probably shouldn't be selling $2,400 courses. When he was making bad decisions, I was making good ones. So I was selling out of massive gains I'd made off of Tesla. And I was putting that money, we are seeing a little bit of a drop. We're down to 67.4 in Bitcoin. But I was putting that money into Bitcoin-related investments like Iron and others. And then I made a bunch of, in MSTX and BITX, I made a bunch of money off of those. And then I sold, not the Iron, but I sold some MSTX and BITX last week, taking those and then putting that money into Tesla, because I believe one of the greatest arbitrage plays a person can do in the years ahead is going to be Bitcoin to Tesla, Tesla to Bitcoin, back and forth, arbing those plays on oversold and overbought conditions. And it's what I plan on doing. If you do this kind of stuff, you want to do it in tax advantage accounts. Somebody just asked about PayPal. We will cover that. Let's look at that. PayPal price targets. So good questions. So I actually believe PayPal could double in size in the next year. So let's just go into it with that. I very much appreciate Alex Chris and what he's doing for the company. There's still room to grow and do better. I still hate the mobile app. It's getting better. Like, he's getting good at advertising with it, but it might be better on Apple. But my Android experience is trash. And I wanted to try and pay somebody with NFC chips, and I, for the life of me, couldn't fucking figure it out because there's like 20 different ways to move money on the PayPal app. It's just trash, absolute trash. But what I love about PayPal is they've done a good job already starting to increase margins, starting to increase adoption, adding in ad revenues, just doing things to expand. Again, like just trying to consolidate Venmo and PayPal applications into one, consolidating data silos in the company into one to where they didn't have these problems. It's all beautiful. It's all really, really beautiful. And I think they're just going to do more of that in the future. So when I look at PayPal, there's a gap all the way up to 226. Do I think we're getting to that in a year? Probably not. But I do think that there's possibility of 150 range on PayPal in the next year. And I think with 10x roughly the options play, I can make a lot of money off of that. I currently have, I don't know if it's $500,000. I don't know what PayPal's at today. Let me log in real quick to my portfolio and I'll tell you. So PayPal's up 0.25, but they were down 1.5 yesterday. So it might be less than $500,000 in PayPal. We'll look real quick here. And that's in options. Now, I got wrecked for my 2025. Derek, I think he contributed, or he invested in some of that too, potentially following my leads. So sorry about losing a bunch of money, Derek. But in others that invested in 2025, I was 16 months early on PayPal. I do apologize. Those probably are going to turn to dust because that's just how things work when you're wrong. If you're wrong on options by 16 months, if you make any money, it's amazing. Any money at all. But let's just look over here real quick. So, and again, I show my portfolio to you guys. This is the bulk of it. It's like 60% or something. But yeah, so PayPal, the 2025's dust, painful dust, because I don't like losing $331,000 on anything, right? It's not my jam. And for people that are new here, I made 600% last year, though, in returns across my portfolio. So even though I lost some money on this, and in ARKG, I haven't done really good on that either. And a couple of others like DLO, this is a small play, but I lost almost $100,000 on it. Even though I've lost some, it's not really a big deal. I still plan on making 100% this year. And then I'm shooting for 200 to 300% next year. So I do asymmetric bets pointed in different directions. Some of them can lose. It's okay. But I did give up on PayPal. And so I'm down on it, but I still have, $420,000. I have more in another account. So maybe $450,000 to $500,000 in PayPal options that can give me a really good return. So I still very much believe in it, but my target is much more realistic than it was in January of 2020 for my January 2025s at 140. And now it's 95 by January 16th of 2026. And these things, I don't know what they're at right now, but they were giving me an 8 to 10x multiplier versus the underlying. So to put that in perspective, if PayPal goes up, doubles, if it doubles, even if it doesn't double, let's just look at PayPal again. If PayPal, all it does is go up, just like, let's say on the monthly, up to this 50 moving average, up 60% to 126, then I could make 8 to 10 times that. So I could make 600%, right? And if it goes up 100%, I could make 1,000%. So these are the kind of asymmetric bets I play so that I can get a lot of something when it's really cheap. That's what I do. So anyway, let's do this. I want to look at, I'm going to pull this up and look at the full watch list. We're going to look at that while I try and get caught up on a few comments here. So the thing's losing today. It looks like Palantir. Ugh, and I feel bad for the Palantir people. I've been shitting on this one, and admittedly, I was wrong for a period of time because here's what I want to show for people that are, there's a lot going on in this chart. There's a lot I need to clean up, okay? I need to clean up a lot here. But here's what I wanted to show. There are, well, I don't even know if they're on the weekly anymore. Are they the monthly? It might just be the monthly. This is a monthly. So the monthly, I don't even have the divergences anymore. I can't even pretend like those are real. But here's what I can tell you, is that on the monthly time frame, we've never seen the lines on the RSI and MACD this high. And on the weekly time frame, we hit the highest RSI level. Let's just go over here real quick and look. We hit the highest RSI level on the weekly time frame since this company was originally released and IPO'd and shot straight up. So it was irrational exuberance around January 2021 when markets were flying. And we've hit in the highest MACD lines, look at this here, ever. And so the path for this is most likely down. And I'm saying that for 3 months, 6 months, we could consolidate on Palantir while people rotate into other things. And that's perfectly normal because when you go up 670% in a little over a year and a half off of where I called it down here, right here, this is where I made my big post and made my $600,000 on Palantir. was right over here when we were getting confirmation of a really beautiful head and shoulder, inverse head and shoulders. And I sold a lot of it, admittedly, over here by the .618 because that's what technicals tell me to do. And the company has went up more, so I sold it around 16, and I got 600,000 in gains, which was a huge percentage for me. And it's went up more. It's went up 200%. So people have done really well if they didn't listen to me. And actually, maybe it was higher than that at 618. It might have been here in the 17, 18, whatever. I digress. It doesn't really matter. It's went up like 150% since then. So people that didn't listen to me, if they weren't in options, if they were in options, they probably should have actually exited here. But if they weren't in options, they probably did really well. But I think we're rotating. I think we're going down. It's down almost 4% today. So it looks like I'm going to be right. And if the weekly closes the way it is, this pattern right here, they call it a tweezer top, tweezer bottom. If we tweezer top this thing, then it's a really good sign that I'm right now, finally. And Alex Garcia said, all right, so let's get caught up on some comments here. So we've got, oh, wow, you guys have said a lot. Guys, check Polymarket. Trump is leading by a large margin. I saw that, Jan. Stephen Toro, yeah, I'm down 15,000 on the 2025 PayPal options. Jesse, would you refund me? No, I will not refund you. I will not refund you because we're all grown-ups here, and you know that, which is why you made the laughy face. And I have this little disclaimer to protect my ass. And I'm incorporating to protect my ass. So down here it says, what am I? A wannabe macroeconomist, self-made millionaire, a multimillionaire, to be clear. Always trying to find investments that make the world a better place. What I am not a financial advisor. This is for education and entertainment purposes only. Please consult a financial advisor if you want personalized financial advice. That's why I charge so little, because I'm not responsible for you guys, and I can still be wrong. So that is what it is. So no refunds. No refunds. Especially if I didn't make any money. Alejandro R, ASML, buy or sell? We should look at that one. We should. Chicken Bro says, even daily then have divergence now. Yeah, now it does. That's true. It's kind of rotated out from higher time frames like weekly and monthly, and it's rotated down to daily. You're right, Chicken Bro. Joe Doan says, in Palantir, love seeing it going down. I get to keep my shares and premium. You sold covered calls. Smart move, especially at the all-time high. Stock intakes. Any price targets for MSTR over the next 5 to 6 months? Yeah, I got some. We can look at that. Rodolfo Araya, for Palantir, you can see the 3 million RSI, and it's also overbought. Guys, when the CEO, who I love, sells, I don't know, what did he sell? $3 billion worth of stock. It's probably a good sign. If Elon sells $3 billion of his Tesla stock, not to buy the freest platform on earth for social media, then you should be worried. If he's just like, I wanted to buy a summer home, you should be worried about Tesla stock. But I don't think we have to do that for 10 or 20 years. Chicken Bro says, my puts are in green finally. Oh, for Palantir? Cool, man. I hope they treat you well. I wouldn't short it too long because it is a great company. Ariel, what do you think of him stock? Been seeing it pop a lot on FinTwit. I actually thought it could drop further, but it did drop 50% from its high, and it looks like the stock is finding support and could go higher. We can look at that in a second. Cody, my put on SoFi is doing good so far. Put on SoFi. I don't know if I'd do that. I actually think SoFi can go a lot higher, but it is very overbought over a short time frame. So if you look over here, well, I shouldn't say very, because last time we were this overbought, at least on the daily, was June of 2023. So a little over a year ago, year and a half. But if we look at the weekly, we are in overbought territory. So I could see it based upon shorter time frames. I could see why you would do this. I do think that we could still break out to the $11 or $12 range soon. But from a technical level on the weekly, the RSI finally hit overbought territory, which is a sign that you could see a slowdown for a second, right? But we've got this divergence that was down here. We've got divergence and convergence that have kind of led into each other on the MACD, still pointing up. And I don't know. I still think it could go up. Robert, I buy that entertainment argument. Love it. Right? I'm entertaining. Fuck yeah. Maytag, I am a bit behind on the stream, but I have been looking for a good strike and with high open interest on a great multiplier for January 2027 calls. I have not found one yet. Still looking. Yeah, the 2027s are probably still pretty rich. The premium is probably pretty rich because you pay more of a premium per time. Anybody who hasn't watched the Options 101 video, options are dangerous as fuck. Again, I lost $330,000 so far on PayPal 2025s from being an idiot and being too soon. You don't have that issue with stocks because you just hold them and then it can get better. They could still go to zero, but if you hold a good company and you don't have leverage on them, you're safer. So don't get into options without understanding options. I've got a video about that does a pretty good job breaking it down. I've been told that it's better than all the others. I hope so because I did look at a bunch of others and thought they were shit, and I took the good stuff out of them and threw it in here. But I won't. This isn't a video where I'm like, you're gonna make tons of money off of options, and that's how you get rich. I've made a lot of money off of options, but you can lose it too. So this is a real video that tells you about it and how it works. Yeah, we can start looking at stocks, guys. 1 second here. Oh, yeah, 3-month RSI. That makes more sense. Thanks, Rodolfo. Logan speaking facts again. Elon Musk called the 2022 recession during the height of the 2021 euphoria bull market. Exactly, right? He was early and he was ready. Once he saw that rates were going to go up too, he was worried about the markets. He was brilliant. Robert, I was gifted a membership. Thank you to whomever. There were so many gifted memberships today. I don't even know who to blame. It could have been Susan. It could have been everybody. Like, what did we have? Who are the big players today? Derek Wall gave a bunch. There's just so many. Let's see here. We got, I'm just going to read them off. Manny247, 20 memberships. Derek Wall got his own membership and then gifted another 50. Victor Hernandez gave 10. Susan, you like always given 10 or more. Genzo21 gifted 5. Danny gifted 10. Mike Lauk gifted 10. Brandon signed up. TSL and A miners gifted 5. Manny247 gifted another 20. Piso joined up. Kyle Wright gifted 10. Jan C joined up. You guys are insane. This is just freaking crazy, and I appreciate you guys so much. A lot. But yeah, let's start looking at stocks here. I do want to go over. I didn't go over some of the latest X news or Tesla news. I want to go over that super quick. Also, Mara. Let me just hit that first. God, there's so much going on today, guys. Mara today, this was yesterday afternoon, announced that it secured a $200 million line of credit collateralized by a portion of its Bitcoin holdings. Read the press release here. That's actually pretty smart. Maybe we'll see some of that happening. I mean, the interest rates are still kind of high. It's still smart, but I don't know. MicroStrategy will probably just dilute. Oh, not that. I want to go back. Tesla. Let's get over Tesla real quick here first. So Elon Musk said, I mean, the fluid has to get from one ship to another. So Alex, huge fan of Elon, was talking about SpaceX. Under the Tesla segment, I talk everything Elon Musk because it all blurs, okay? It all blurs into it. But he said SpaceX will demonstrate Starship to Starship propellant transfer next year. That's just insane. I don't know if Tesla will be able to reach their goal by 2026 of having a Starship, 1 to 5 Starships, getting to Mars with maybe Optimus robots on them and no human beings. But I would love to see that. And if anybody can do it, it's Elon Musk. This is just insane, and it's coming. Again, maybe it's not until 2028. There's a window roughly every 2 years to go to Mars. So maybe it's 2028. But in our lifetime, we're going to see a city on Mars. I mean, if I can live that long. I've got health issues. I'm working on it. Dima said, Elon Musk and xAI team. We talked about this a little bit yesterday, but it was a great post. So Elon Musk and xAI team set up a supercluster of 100,000 NVIDIA H200 Blackwell GPUs in 19 days, a process that usually takes years. And to be clear, Jensen Huang, this little guy, works at NVIDIA. He said that it can take 4 years. 19 days. If that's not signal, I don't know what is. A shock. One of the heads of the AI team, Autopilot AI at Tesla, he's the head of it, said, reflecting on the We Robot event, we had 19 cybercabs, 29 Model Ys driving themselves, 1,300 trips transporting over 2,000 guests, continuous operation of over 3.5 hours, and every trip was perfectly safe. Again, they're going slow, but this is showing what is coming. Find signal from it. Elon Musk says sometimes things do work after all. So it said, Chief Nerd said 2 years ago, Elon Musk told us his nutty idea to catch the largest and heaviest flying object ever made and pluck it out of the air. Let's listen to Elon Musk in his own words. mean, eventually.
I mean, there's a custom-built tower with arms that are designed to catch.
I love that the Interstellar music is playing in the background. It's some of my favorite classical music.
The largest and heaviest flying object ever made, and pluck it out of the air. But it's pretty nutty because you're going to have this gigantic, you know, booster coming back. I mean, that's 9 meters in diameter, not counting the chines, or roughly 30 feet in diameter. It'll weigh about,
in diameter,
250 tons. Just a bit on the heavy side. We'll make that lighter over time. I think we'll be able to get the mass well under 200 tons over time, but still pretty heavy. So you're gonna, you know, call it a couple hundred tons, plummeting at, you know.
Yeah, me too.
Let's see. I think the velocity at which we start up the engines is more than half the speed of sound. So this thing is still coming in really fast. So it's going to slow itself down very fast. Then correct any error. So like whatever the XY error is when the engines land, it's going to take out the XY error, and then drop the velocity to basically zero. Come in between the arms. The arms will be wide, and as it's coming in, the arms will close, go flush against the side of the vehicle, and the vehicle will be descending through the arms. I mean, that's the theory anyway.
Now, I didn't finish high school. I only went to high school for a year and a half, but from my understanding of physics, this should be utterly impossible or incredibly difficult. And it's just so inspiring to see it happening. I don't know if people just watching that end, guys, watching this thing inches away, potentially still 200, 250 tons of weight. That's just a massive amount. And just watch it perfectly land. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this as it's still moving.
And as it's coming in, the arms will close, go flush against the side of the vehicle, and the vehicle will be descending.
And there are people that think that this man isn't going to have full self-driving a lot sooner than they realize. There's something else, though. So we got Tesla potentially selling Bitcoin. I've said this before. I think it's possible. I don't know what they're going to do with the FASB accounting rules. I don't know if they're just going to utilize them because they can this year, starting at the beginning of the year. They could use FASB accounting rules to be able to recognize gains. From my understanding, their purchase price is between $32,000 and $35,000. So they could either just recognize those gains and that would end up helping them in Q3 and maybe make the numbers look a lot better than people think they're going to look. So maybe we get a surprise into Q3. Doesn't have to happen, but I think it can. Buying WorldCoin. No, not buying WorldCoin, not buying whatever the fuck Trump put out there. Not buying any of that shit. There's people that seem to believe anything. But yeah, definitely not that. But so they could be selling. They could be moving to another wallet for security. They could be accepting Bitcoin in the future. Anything could happen, but I could see them at least using the Bitcoin if they haven't, because I don't think they've incorporated the new FASB accounting rules that started at the beginning of the year. They kind of get forced into it at the end of the year. But this would be a good way to boost if they did change their accounting to be able to incorporate their gains. I think that would be a good way to offset net income and make it look better. So I don't think a lot of people are thinking about that. They don't even have to sell it to do it, but I do think that's possible. Elon Musk said, one of our most important launches ever happened on the 14th, deployment of NASA's Europa Clipper spacecraft. There's just all this. So on top of every other thing that we saw happening with the Starship over the weekend, for the people that were there, it was just amazing. I got teary-eyed from it, but this was also happening.
That you were talking about all stacked together. This is a big moment for the program, for NASA, APL, and JPL. Let's watch.
This is just so cool.
Europa Clipper, separation confirmed.
And there you go. NASA's Europa Clipper probe, embarking on a long-awaited mission to study Jupiter's icy moon Europa. And what a sight, Mick.
That is absolutely gorgeous, Gerald, to see Europa Clipper on its way. Successful deployment from stage 2. Falcon Heavy performed very well today. teams behind us are clapping and enjoying. That is a
So just think about this, guys. There wouldn't even be a space program in the United States if Elon wasn't around. We would be at war with Russia, and we wouldn't be able to go to space. And the leading space companies would be China, Russia, and India. And we would be a dying civilization. Same with EVs and cars. We would literally have automakers that didn't keep up with China and that were getting devastated. Maybe the war in Russia and Israel would be going better because of lack of innovation and just an unwillingness to fight these superpowers together. Maybe we'd have a completely different timeline that would be really, really horrific. Instead, we have a guy who's working to make blind people see, quadriplegics walk and be able to communicate and work in the world, boring companies that can remove congestion from our environments, single-handedly creating the EV sector and making it to where they're still the most powerful EV company in the world, and delivering the most out of anybody, including BYD, because you can't include hybrids. Multiplanetary species, delivering 90% of the payload mass for the entire Earth to space, creating an internet for the entire world. I'm sure I'm missing stuff. Energy, replacing, putting batteries everywhere and helping, like. And then what did he tell us on Thursday? What was the little thing that he told us on Thursday? He told us that he was going to usher in an age of abundance for humanity through the robotics program and through transportation autonomy. So, I don't know, man. People hate this guy. I don't get it, but I appreciate him and I love him. And I'm grateful for his existence. All right. Tesla Optimus. This is what people don't get. Most importantly is Diablo 4 accomplishments. I got to try and play that game again. I'm just so caught up in like reality that I struggle to give myself the okay to do anything that isn't all of this. But I might have to play that again. Here's a video I wanted you to see. This is what Tesla Optimus is trying to tell you. It's what's coming. Also, you guys do know that there's another car coming, right? There's another car coming in the first half of this next year that they haven't released yet. And I don't think it's the Roadster. So what they're subtly telling you here is that the cars are the robot. And I hope you get that signal. And again, so we have just another thing. Tesla Semi will be available worldwide. So we've got the Semi in Berlin, in Europe. And everybody's like, oh, there's no way. Sorry, I'll try and scroll up. I'll get better at that. I keep forgetting I've got the tickers down below. There's no way that the Tesla Semi will be approved for Europe or whatever. Yeah, guys, it's going to be. It's going to be. And Elon Musk literally says it's going to be available worldwide. These guys will end up using this technology. It's the best out there. Elon Musk, Doge designer, October 15th, says he will call and ask if it would be not too much trouble to allow Starlink to compete to provide internet services to the people of India. Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, TRAI, should ensure a fair decision and encourage competition to benefit Indian consumers. I think this will happen. He's got a pretty good relationship with Modi. And again, we said that Giga Berlin will expand from 500,000 to 1 million car output. I've got to find this other one. It's from Omar. I thought I had it on here, but I can't seem to find it. Maybe I needed to refresh the list. But I need to look up my buddy Holmar's catalog, as you guys might know him. And I subscribe to people I think are great. I think you guys should do the same. All right, so real quickly, I just want to see here. He had something that was awesome, and it wasn't Diablo related. Where is it? This was a conversation yesterday. I thought I had it in my list, but I can't find it, so I'm going to try and find it. Megapack is just getting started. Congratulations to all the teams that have built and deployed. Yeah, so Tesla is the AAA rated company, the only one at the top of the tier list, guys. I posted this recently too, but I'm just going to reiterate it right now. This is literally the best battery manufacturer on Earth. And getting better. So I hope people realize that. That's not what I'm looking for, though. Let's keep going. That's cool. It's not what I'm talking about. That ain't it. So many things. So many things. Tesla has a big secret. Plans for new vehicles, including more affordable models, remain on track for start of production in the first half. There's signal here, guys. What did we just get? So this is the last earnings, right? And what did we hear from Tesla about the new Cybercab? What did they say? It's going to be released in what? 2026 to 2027, right? Right? That's the fully autonomous vehicle. And everybody's bitching. What are they bitching about? They're bitching about there not being a steering wheel or pedals in the Cybercab. Is it possible that there's another vehicle coming? Maybe it looks like the Cybercab. Maybe it's $25,000, and maybe they're still on track for the first half of 2025, and we haven't seen it yet. Yes, this is what's happening. It says these vehicles will utilize aspects of the next generation platform as well as aspects of our current platforms and will be able to produce the same manufacturing lines as our current vehicle lineup. This approach will result in achieving its less cost reduction than previously expected, but enables us to prudently grow our vehicle volumes on a more CapEx efficient manner during uncertain times. So they'll be able to devote to this smaller vehicle. Maybe it's the Cybercab with the steering wheel. Wouldn't that be cray? So this is something that Holmars has been trying to tell people. He's like, guys, you're missing something. Guys, listen. There's something going on and people don't realize it yet. But there's another car. And there's another version over here that I got to find real quick. There's a lot of stuff. Holmars is like all up in the Tesla business. I would get bored just posting about one thing all the time. That's just me. But I got to find this other one. I got to find it because I got to share it out, guys. It's so good. It's so good, and it's so truth. If I can't find it here, I'll find it later and publish it out. But it has to deal with the vehicles all covered up, right? When the vehicles were all covered up, we've seen 2 of the 3 unveiled. People are like, oh, well, the third one's just the Roadster. Why the fuck would they have it covered up? They wouldn't. They wouldn't have it covered up, guys. Come on, dude. Holmars, Jesus. Do you sleep, bro? Do you sleep, bro? This is 24 hours of your life, bro? He's worse than me. This is ridiculous. Oh, it's getting close. It's getting close, I think, to the one I'm looking for. It's getting close. There's so much signal in it. I got to post it. I got to post it again. Oh, it's right here. There we go. There we go. All right, so look at this, guys. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. I'm going to repost this myself. And BGZ, I'll get to you in a sec here. But I gotta do this. I got to rebookmark it, too, because I got to find it. I want to keep it near the top. Now, think about this. We just had the Cybercab get unveiled, right? And what did we end up seeing? We saw maybe these 2. But what about this, guys? It looks tiny. It actually looks exactly like this car. Exactly like the Cybercab. Exactly like it. It doesn't look like a Roadster. It looks like the Cybercab. It's the exact same image. So the Roadster isn't on here just because they've already unveiled it, but they haven't really put it into production, so they don't want to show it in the fleet. Maybe if they put it on here, they'd probably put coming soon, right? But they wouldn't have it covered up. And we know in their last earnings call, they said another one's coming. So yes, what am I trying to do in the next, if Tesla earnings still don't perform well for some reason in Q3 and next Wednesday, and come here for it, this is going to be the channel to be on. If it doesn't perform and it goes down and Bitcoin's doing well, I will be buying the shit out of Tesla options. Because people are being stupid. They're missing it. And this is Signal. Okay? Can someone tell me how to sign up on the Discord? Yeah, I can actually. So you go to wap.com/micro2macro. I'm actually going to be getting an LLC like that. I might incorporate in another method. We'll see. I'm trying to figure out what the best is. Any accountants out here, let me know. But that's how you sign up on WAP. And when you do that, there's different tiers. You can just get the starter. It gives you like 99% of everything. There are some additional features that we're going to turn on for Alpha and Whale that will come later. But really, it gets you the bulk of it. And some of it's already there. It's just not utilized that much. But it gets you the bulk of it. Just $5 is all you need. And that will get a lot better too. It's only been up 2 weeks, guys. So I've got a lot of improvements to do. Also, while I'm on here on SoFi, I just wanted to mention, it is interesting that, whoever said they were shorting SoFi, was it Robert, somebody else? I don't know. Whoever it was, that might not be a bad idea because it hit the 200 moving average on the weekly, and then you have all that overbought territory on the RSI. So you might be right for a while. All right, so I just got to keep going here. BGZ says battery storage and megapacks are going to be huge. I 100% agree. What do you guys think, though? Do you guys agree with me? Are we literally looking at another fucking car being announced in Q1? This was just the Robotaxi event. This wasn't the new car event. Why did people think that would be the thing? There were 2 cars. There was the Cybervin and there was the Cybercab. Autonomous vehicles, but maybe there's a Cybercab that isn't fully autonomous that looks just like that one that's going to be released in the first half. That's going to start, what did he say, production? Is that what he said? Is that literally what he said? Let's just go back here, guys. This is too cray. This is too cray. People need to understand. Plan for new vehicles, including more affordable models, remain on track for start of production. Do you think the stock climbs off of that? I do. These vehicles will utilize aspects, it says these vehicles, let's just assume for now it's one, of the next generation platform as well as aspects of current platforms, and will be able to produce the same manufacturing lines as our current vehicle lineup. This approach will result in achieving low cost reduction than previously expected, but enables, so lower cost reduction, they said, but it'll allow them to, oh, by the way, Bitcoin's at 68 again, sweet. But it will allow them to be able to get something out that's cheaper. So again, maybe this is the $25,000 model. Maybe the margins won't be super great, but maybe they'll be good. And at the same time, this will allow them to where if the economy is falling apart, which I don't even know if it's going to be now, they can produce a lower cost model that they can export to almost every part of the world because people will buy them. China just had record-breaking numbers, and they're starting a Great Depression, I believe, in my view. And you still have wealthy people that are buying Teslas hand over foot. So, but imagine this. So this helps them weather more it gives them more CapEx efficient manner during uncertain times. I love that. They have like $30 billion in cash. What is it even now? I don't know. It's a lot of money. This should help us fully utilize our current expected maximum capacity of close to 3 million vehicles. It's actually like 3.5 now because they just told us they're going to do another 500,000 capacity in Germany, enabling more than 50% growth over 2023 production before investing in new manufacturing lines. I love this company. Our purpose-built Robotaxi product will continue to pursue a Revolution Unboxed manufacturing strategy. So there's another car coming. Anybody excited about that? I am. Battery store. Oh, yeah, that was you. Okay. Somebody else said something. So yeah, Matt said Whole Mars has a team that posts. Okay. Well, I just got me, so he's beating me there. Robert said Finance Boys expected. Oh wait, I just jumped. 1 second. I want to make sure I get all this. Dave Parketney, I would buy a Cybercab with pedals and a wheel for sure. I think that's what's coming. It just won't be the unboxed design. It'll be more costly for them, but still give them decent margins so that they can keep producing and keep expanding, which is the major thing, right? He wants to keep growing no matter what happens. And if the economy's actually good, then they'll start firing up other factories. JT said, I would pay good money for a semi-RV. Me too. Robert, do you just laugh when all the pundits say they're so far behind Waymo and ours? Literally, the previous founder of Waymo, I posted this yesterday, said that Tesla is so far ahead of everybody else. And he's a founder. So, yeah, I do. Bitcoin running 68,200. Again, I'd love to close above the green bar if you're looking at the bottom right here. Matthew Lee, I appreciate you, Jesse. Thanks for all you do. Dave, I would live in a semi, fucking own land, right? You could actually get that cyber van thing, and maybe that could be like a cyber RV too. It's going to be pretty low profile, so you couldn't go off-roading in it. but you could live like on a piece of land on a road and just park the fucking thing and then just go to another location at an RV park if you wanted. It's the perfect RV. It's like a small RV that you could outfit the interior in any number of ways. It'd be awesome. Mike Shoemate, if the Model 2 looks anything like the Cybercab, boom. I think it literally is. It literally is. Book and tackles, hoping this all times out where I move my gains from BTC into miners or from miners to Tesla. Yeah, just jockey back and forth between oversold and overbought conditions. It is the arbitrage play of the next century. Robert, I would buy Cybercab with steering wheel and pedals for under $30K immediately. This would be sold in Europe, Europe, dude, Europe, South America, Central America, Africa, Asia, everywhere they love small cars. It's much more affordable. If it was $25K, just imagine. Alejandro, ASML at the end of the year, $800 by the fear. Maybe. Matt, Whole Mars has a team that posts. Robert, Finance Boys expected an entry car to run their calculators, seeing only Tesla or Tesla only as a car manufacturer. Yep, they were being idiots, and they aren't even looking at this. Why do we have to figure this shit out? Why does the guy in his basement and Whole Mars have to tell you what is coming when the people that literally work for Bloomberg and all these other analysts that make tons of money every year don't even know what's happening? David Parketney, but we can see the silhouette of the two small cars are the same. Exactly. They're the same car. One has a steering wheel and one doesn't. And then the internals onto them are going to be different because they're working one off the unboxed design and to be fully autonomous. And the other one, they're going to streamline, really just using a lot of the same processes and parts they already have. Freedom Options, comparing two cars based on a graphic is a little bit of no, it's not. It's not, because they literally told us this car is still coming in the first half of this next year. Last quarter, they said this is still on track. The other one isn't even on track till 2026 or 2027. These are different vehicles. They even tell you why this is different from their unboxed autonomous design. They spell it out for you. This is what's coming. Fuck. Brett McKee. Can someone tell me how to sign up to the Discord? Oh, okay, I gave that. Dave said, is there going to be another 10 a.m. sell-off like yesterday? I don't know. Bitcoin's going up. Let me see here. Dave said, oh, no. Derek Wall, if Trump doesn't win, what do you do, Jesse? I'm still going to make money. I'm still going to make money, Derek, because both of them have spending plans. And don't get me wrong, Tesla could get hurt. If Kamala wins, Tesla could get hurt. I don't think that's going to happen. But if it does, Tesla's going to get hurt. Elon's going to get hurt. They'll slow him down, but I don't think they can stop him. And I think it's still the most successful company. And I watched this CNN video where all the people on there, hardcore liberals, are like, we fucked up with Elon Musk. We messed up. We should have handled it differently. So I think there's remorse from how badly they've screwed up with Elon Musk, because they should have embraced him. They shouldn't have fought him on trying to keep his factories open with COVID. They shouldn't have ignored him and went pro-union and then ignored him and then said Mary Barra was leading the future of EVs. They've really screwed up. So I think they're going to need him. They need him. What are they going to do with space without Elon Musk? What are they going to do with Starlink and the internet of the world without Elon Musk? What are they going to do with the EV sector and trying to save legacy auto without Elon Musk? What are they going to do for anything? So I think either way I make money. It's just I make it more rapidly and quickly with Trump. And then also, again, I think the plans for the whole reparations, there's just so much stupid shit with the Democratic Party right now. But they won't win the Senate and the House. They won't. I don't see that happening. All the numbers tell me they're not going to. So I think no matter what, we have a neutered Kamala Harris that if anything, we don't get the fiscal side, but we still get monetary expansion. And so we still go up, but not to the same degree and not over the same time frame. That's my thesis, Derek. So I think it'll be worse for humanity. It'll be worse for this country. And maybe with Kamala Harris, a burger isn't $5 anymore. Maybe it's $25 in 4 years if we keep importing illegal immigrants and raising the price of housing and rentals and creating inflation that we don't need while bringing a bunch of people in here that we can't financially support because of the sheer vastness of what's coming in. in a short period of time. And it's a destabilizing factor too, not just socially, but economically. So I think she's devastating. But Derek shorted Palantir on Monday. Awesome, man. I hope you make some money for a bit. There will be some support kicking in eventually, but I just think it's not going to do as well over a short term. And if it drops a decent amount, man, take those profits, put them into something else, put them into Tesla, put them into Bitcoins, especially CSK. It's going to rocket. In fact, today, let's look. So today, let's just sort by percentages here in the bottom right corner, guys. We got Doge up 8.5%, Bonk up 5.4% because dogs are popular, CleanSpark up 5.48%, Iron up 5%, Uranium up 5%. Cypher up 5%, Coinbase up 4.3%, Micron, we were talking about Micron, up 3.9%. Everything's up. BITX is up, Mara's up 3%, Flux is up 3%. It's just the everything rally. Now, maybe tomorrow we get a little bit of a reset, but here's the thing that's awesome about what we're currently invested in, guys. If you're in the portfolio I'm in, and again, this is a little outdated, I had to fix it. But if you're in the portfolio I'm in, then you have a lot of things that have been oversold. Tesla, PayPal, shitcoins, Bitcoin-related stuff, ArcG, Hood, and a few others that are just really oversold conditions, and they're due for rotation. So I think your downside risk is still pretty limited. That's my take. All right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to pull up the stock map heat index. I've already been rolling for 3 hours. I might do a few stocks now. I might save some of that for the market recap and just really focus on it. Unless there's crazy news, the market recap is going to be shorter and just very much stock picks. That's the goal most days, unless there's just really pivotal news or things I think you need to understand. All right, so let's look here. Joanne says, I think Tesla is being purposely held down. They only keep that beach ball underwater for so long. When it breaks out, it's going to be face ripping. I think it's the next Palantir. Just a larger cap, less of a return because of its size. But it's going to skyrocket. I agree, Joanne. Alex Garcia, Hood at $27. Is that what Hood's at? Let's look at a few tickers here. I can kind of roll through some of this as we're going. So Hood looks beautiful. Nice little break here. Again, I think Hood, here's what I have for Hood, guys. I'm going to be probably out of my calls on Hood by 30 to maybe 33. Don't get me wrong. Hood could maybe even go higher. We'll have to see what happens with the event. Is it today? Is it happening today, this release? I don't know if it's happened yet. We got more talk from Google and Kairos nuclear power deal. I'll probably look at that in a second. But I'm probably going to start selling out of some of my Hood calls, maybe buying the underlying stock because I really do like the platform, and I'm looking to probably move more money into it. But, and again, it's still down 68% from where it was at its peak. But I'm going to start selling out of some of my Hood calls, taking those profits. I think I'm up a lot on them. Let's just look. Hood, 144% on the recent ones, 500% on the oldies. I already made 500 to 600% off of Hood, and then I made a couple 100% more. And now this is my third go around on Hood. Some of you guys are there with me. So Hood, again, I'm going to start selling some of this and taking some profits, probably up 200% at the time, with over 100,000 in gains. And I'm going to start moving that stuff into Tesla and other things that I believe are oversold. So I do like Hood. Dario says, with Trump as president and Elon as supporter, we could easily see $600 in 2 years. 900, I think. And that's why I made that $14 million bet video. I've actually got more options now for Tesla than I had back then. So I guess this is a $17 million bet, $60 million bet. I don't know. It's hard to keep up. Steve Brewster, I think there will be a van as well. It can double as their service vehicle. I don't think that's coming right now. I think the actual the VN is that, right? Because they said that you could use this as it can seat at least 14, I think they said, and you could put tons of packages in it, and it could drive you from one destination to another. And ideally, in the future, you have two Optimuses in it. One serves one side of the street, one serves the other. They grab their packages, they drop them off, they get back in the vehicle, they move forward while they're grabbing the other packages. They get those packages, they open the doors, they go out into different directions, they deliver those, and they just keep doing that. And so like Amazon eventually just has two Optimus robots and the Cybervin, and it delivers all the packages. The Postal Service could have it too. It's a lot better than their shit. U.S. Postal Service vehicle electric. Have you guys seen this horrific looking piece of shit? Have you? Have you? Have you seen this ugly fucking car? This is what our government's good at doing, guys. It's got amazing technology. Let's look. What kind of amazing technology does this potential thing that they're going to create in the future have? Let's just look. Let me go back. I can't do it from that view. I got to go back over here. I'll just zoom in. Oh, it just makes it smaller. Anyway, it's got like a camera. It's got air conditioning. It's got an airbag. Oh my God. Forward collision warnings? What? So, yeah, I can see this piece of shit getting easily replaced, right? Because this is what it looks like. I don't even want to see this thing on the road. People make fun of the Cybertruck. Jesus, what is this thing? So, anyway, I think it can replace all those things. JD, not sure if you saw Jesse, but NVCR just got their lung cancer treatment approved. Goodbye area in the stock. Their earnings will go up from this. Whoa, lung cancer treatment approved? All right, I'll take a minute for that. I think we've already looked at that stock, right? Let me go over here. Pretty sure we were talking about that. Maybe you were the one that brought it up as a potential like good investment in the future. But let's see, NVCR. It looks like it got a pop. It's kind of retraced a little bit, but it had a pretty good pop today. It's up 4.61% right now. It's got this kind of fanning pattern. It's got a gap it could fill right over here to $27. Let's look at the financials real quick. I love cancer treatments for lung cancer, man. That can help a lot of people. So I don't know what they'll be for profitability. This is always this thing that scares me, right? So they made $150 million last quarter. They lost 34 million. They look like they're starting to get closer to cash flow positive. Their net income's getting closer to positive. This could be an opportunity in the future. If you could keep monitoring it for the group, I would love that. I do love that they started to buy back their stock, or insiders have started buying a lot of stock in Q1 of 2024. The way less selling recently. I like that too. Institutional ownership growing, short interest plummeting. Estimates look like we're seeing some growth, but these probably don't include the cancer treatment that was just approved. So maybe you're early to this. I don't know it well enough, and I don't have a lot of excess capital, but maybe you're early to this. Stock-based comp was 21% of revenues. If this approval and then their spin-up can happen in a reasonable amount of time, this could be a really good stock in the future. Very interesting, JD. CDK Studios, 68K around the corner. I mean, we're right at it, 67.8. We're definitely touching it. We're pushing hard. I love it when you go up and you keep pushing hard against levels like this. It's a really great sign that we want to break out sooner than later. Val Howdy, CleanSpark breaking out, is it? Let's look at some of these. We haven't looked at the Bitcoin ones. Let's see how MicroStrategy is doing today. It looks like it's getting a bid. But still, that MSCX, I would argue, is not a great play. Oh, it's still down. Yeah, so it's underperforming. This is basically what I told you guys it was going to do, right? So underperforming, down 0.37, so they're probably down 0.75 on MSTX today, and a day where other things are doing really good. It is testing the first fib line extension, though. So anybody who jumped out at 227, you're getting a lot better deal at 193 today. So maybe we're getting closer to a good time to purchase some of this, but I could also see us dropping down to maybe 180 to where we get some other volumes, or maybe down into the 160s or 170s before really curving up and taking off. So that's the view on MicroStrategy. Mara's up 2.6% today. That's not bad. It beats MicroStrategy. So I do think this thing will continue to launch, but it's not taking the lead right now. I think the real big narrative lead right now is CleanSpark. And I've been saying that for a while. Everybody's like, oh, I got to get out of my CleanSpark. They're going to do that $600 million offering instead of the $300 million. These guys are horrible. Even though they're the fastest growing miner and have went from like a really tiny one last cycle to what has the biggest hash right now, or I should say not hash rate, but the biggest Bitcoin potentially this month, because Mara's incredibly inefficient and can't keep their equipment running and just lots of other problems. Bitcoin or CleanSpark might have the largest amount of Bitcoin mined this month. That's what their trajectory is. So the narrative is changing quickly to benefit CleanSpark. And just to get back to where CleanSpark was not so long ago, back in like March or whatever, it's 110% upside. I've got calls that will give me 220. And then to get up to the next fib here, it's 156%. And then I believe conservatively, I'm trying to be conservative. I believe the all-time high could be at 64 this cycle, which is 5x from where we're at. But that number could get blown out of the water as we jump up to 107 or maybe even more. This can happen. These miners operate off of multiple, and shit gets crazy. The narrative gets really crazy. So I think you got to be prepared for the potential of almost 900% returns from where we're at, and a minimum of maybe 440% returns from where we're at. I think that's the play on CleanSpark, and I like that it's up 4.5% today, and I like that it's a leader. Let me see. I'm going to keep going down here. Nautilus, Mara, potential MF pattern today or tomorrow. Look at. Oh yeah, I think Mara can do well. What days go at MSTR? Kind of think I got that. Derek said Bitcoin 68,200. That is sweet. Yeah, it's down a little bit, but I love the run up that it started to do into this candle, this 4-hour candle. Let's look at what the 1 hour is doing. So we had this real big drop on the 1 hour. What I would like to see in the next 25 minutes is us close the 1 hour candle close to 68,000. If we could do that on the 1 hour, it's a good sign. But again, we could see some resistance here for a bit too, guys. We could trend sideways until the election. I don't know. I don't care. It's less than 3 weeks. It's like 2.5 weeks before the mothership. So I don't know. I wouldn't get bent out of shape for sure if it doesn't go up right away. MB Jesse, I trimmed 10% of IWM calls and added on PayPal. Would be more aggressive here going forward, or keep the IWMs along with PayPal. I don't know. It's so up to you, man. I don't know kind of what your risk tolerance is. I have a strong belief that PayPal is going to do really good. And I don't know, did you just buy the stock? Did you buy the calls? I don't know. It's up to you, man. It really is. Chris, sup, y'all? On holidays in British Columbia right now, it's insane. Was here over 2 years ago and came back. All I see are Teslas. Oh, I believe it. It's going to get worse. Better. Worse, better. MB, also makes sense to add on MSTR from CleanSpark Games at some point. It could if you have a tax advantaged account like an IRA where you're not suffering from tax consequences. That's the important thing, guys. I don't know where you people live. Some of you are in completely different countries. Make sure you understand the tax obligations of your investing strategy. I personally, and non-tax advantaged accounts, the tax advantaged account in the U.S. is an IRA where you can buy it, or you can buy and sell all day with all kinds of investments, and you don't pay taxes until you cash it out. Now, with my long-term accounts, just a regular investment account, I buy and hold for a year so that I pay long-term capital gains, because those taxes are about half of what they would be for short-term. Depending upon how much you're making, it could be even cheaper or more. But I like to lower my tax obligation because I only want to give the U.S. government what they require me to. All right, Arcadian, CleanSpark bouncing, BGZ, CleanSpark outperforming. It's definitely outperforming. Dario, perfect way to end the week, 69,420, wouldn't it be? Les Walter, no price on the Cybercab bus. The Cybercab is $30,000. The cheaper version maybe is $25,000 where they don't have a lot of margins. The van, we don't have a price on it yet. It's probably 2027. It's my guess. Making a conversion van would be sweet. I think that's literally what it's going to be for. It's going to be like a van where they'll use it for like mini buses, maybe delivers kids to school. It drives people around the cities. Maybe they increase the size of the boring tunnels and they have these things zooming through them. That just totally makes sense to me. But I could also see it be a conversion one for shipping and any number of purposes. That's kind of what they talked about. Got to pull gain back on your mic. Getting some. Oh, getting feedback? Do I have to pull the gain back? Or what's it doing? Let me know. Oh, clipping? That could be the way I have the limiter and stuff set up too. I got to figure it out. I'll turn the gain down just a little bit though. Hopefully that'll help. I'll turn it down to 1 dB. Sorry about the clipping. I've still got a lot to learn here. I am not an audio guy. I'm just a high school dropout. All right. Let me move this Bighorns thing over too. It's a little off base. I'm going to move this over here. Yeah, there you go. That's a little cleaner. Do one of these. Make it a little easier to see. There you go. All right. Shale, CleanSpark, 216. At 216. At 216. That doesn't sound right. This thing is running. Nautilus, FXPO, 10% today, but is long-term at 5x. We should talk about that later. Derek Wall, no Tesla. You don't own Tesla? Dude, you got to own Tesla. I know you got other stuff. I know like you're in Figure AI and other tech stuff. You got to own Tesla, bro. When they, oh, I love it. You got to watch my video. For people who haven't seen it, this is pretty much playing out like I wanted it to. I'm just gonna show you. I'm gonna shoot you a video that you gotta see. It's a really good video. It's a really good video. It is. 4 phases of consolidation. I also have the $14 million bet. That was more like I don't want to delete it. That was more of a get people to pay attention thing. But this video right here goes into the 4 phases of consolidation for Tesla and my thoughts on Tesla and why I believe it's going to do really well. Everything that's happened since then is more bullish, not less. So you should watch that video. Guys, I think I'm going to call it for this morning. I've been here for 3 hours and at least 3 hours. So I'm a little tired. This is probably what I could do in the mornings. And then again, I'll probably do an hour to an hour and a half stream in the afternoon after the market recap. So check it out and bring your stocks that you want to look at for that. Otherwise, we're going to go out with some tunage here. We're going to see what we can work with. I'm going to pick another song. Let me see if I can find a good one. Let me see if I can find a good one here. I like to show some of the old stuff too, guys, because there's songs that are just like super, super old for Bitcoin that are great. Here's a good one. We're going to play this one. All right, I love you guys. I'll see you in the afternoon stream, okay? Peace out.
Yeah.
To be clear, this one is 8.5 years ago. It's from Friends of Satoshi.
We on some next shit with this. Hey, yo, fuck your shoebox money. You buying whips with cryptocurrency right now. Yeah. Tyler Durden, make them holler murder. Take them to the highest point of the earth, no need to follow further. The shit is universal, no time to do rehearsal. I never take a break, that shit is too commercial. I wasn't raised different, I was made different. Flow don't fuck around like it was raised Christian. Antisocial with these kids, we don't play with them. We just keep a small circle and we stay lifted. I need Monopoly bread. So if it ain't sex, then it gotta be head. So you got some candles, I prefer the sloppy instead. Do my own thing and they prefer to copy instead. The money got them in a frenzy, probably wanna envy. Glass half full, but the bottle's left empty. Baby, I'm a gentleman, but I don't do it gently. Backwoods with the Henny, back good, never trendy. That kush got plenty, I be off of the fields. Getting tuned with the rhythm, now I'm leaving the room. Let the mood reawaken like I'm out of the tombs. Each room's keep boom, going out with a boom. For the gold, I be walking every road on the map. Get a vibe low key and the flow's relaxed. But once the smoke is in the air and we pouring the jet, we like singers, turn actors, we don't know how to act. Switch it up, let your bitch pop a bean and a half. Got a queen hitting ass, sipping lean in the back. Bank robbery, we going and we leave with the cash. We just getting what we need, see no reason to ask. The drugs unlock doors in my mind where I never go. Learning to acknowledge while accepting what I'll never know. Living in the moment while we can, cause you never know. Just take the energy you got, baby, and let it go.
Came to spit a sonnet, sonically colder than comets. Surf a rocket to the moon and can nobody stop it. I'm hyperbolic, my words curve extra wavy. Yo, paint a map of the sky, shit you could call me Haley. Before that cold shit, just a cloud of smoke. When you realize you don't know shit, the quicker you gon' grow. Got that van, cold flow, cold crazy on a sorry night. Hate a couple boomers on my way here and I'm feeling right. Hop up out the whip and say what up to everyone around. Let me get a show, then you already know I walk it down. Overdone, say I'm overdue for all these accolades. I don't really think about it, I'm just trying to rap and pace. Stack a couple bitcoins, pull up on my Nakamoto. Chillin' with your lady friend, she rock a red on Takamono. Posted up in Acapulco, shout out to the homie Smoko. Loco at the show, hold up, posing for the family photo. Man, epiphanies on symphonies, epic epigrams, man, these words last for centuries. This shit's timeless, grab it on your tomb. Don't say the sky's the limit when there's footprints on the moon. Moon walking on the sun, sun beaming, I'm a star. Star shooting into space, spaceship it up to Mars. Yeah, I'm universal, my purpose to personal. This path and give back, that's how life's supposed to circle. Yo, G, roll that purple, run that beat, back reversal. I don't need no damn rehearsal. This is internal, eternal. Life is like a flick, leaving space for the horns. That's my shit. Until we meet again, paint the world with brighter colors. Word to the pride mob, y'all my sisters and my brothers. One time for the lovers, spread that energy around and keep it all in motion, getting lost inside my sound.
Cryptocurrency.
Like a couple bitcoins.
Money, 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 money.
Magneto. Pull up on my Nakamoto. Nakamoto.